everybody. Welcome to YouTube. This is a co-stream with Inside Archaeology and Archaeology with Flint Dibble. And we're each streaming this on our own channel, so we're each hosting it separately. It's going to be a good one because did you guys know that Zahi Hawass was just on Piers Morgan Uncensored, claiming I'm not hiding anything. Archaeologist Zahi Hawass grilled on the pyramids by experts. So we're gonna react to this live. We're gonna watch the episode and we're gonna discuss it. We're also gonna discuss some crazy accusations that Jimmy Corsetti just made. He just released a video about an hour ago, and he has accused Zahi Hawass of lying and of worse. So we're going to watch a clip from that video that he just dropped, and we're going to respond to it with some actual academic nuance and stuff.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts on this before we jump in, Rachel?
I mean, I I get really annoyed by this because I really wish that they would sometimes bring on actual colleagues and experts to talk about these things instead of, internet experts, as I think is perhaps the most flattering way to say it.
Let's be clear here. The three experts that were on are here. Let's pull up this thumbnail again. Is this dude? So you have Piers Morgan over here underneath my cursor.
Well known.
Zahi Hawass. We know those two. And then you have Jimmy Corsetti from the Bright Insight channel. And we're going to be talking about him quite a bit as we move on because we have no choice given his accusations in video that he just dropped. And then we have Michael Button, who has a YouTube channel. And then we have
I've never heard. Who is this guy?
Timothy Alberino. He's a guy that believes in Anunnaki and stuff like that. He's very big on Anunnaki and some ancient aliens type stuff. And I've covered him before because a U.S. congressman is very into the Nephilim and the Anunnaki. And he was the one that was like, oh, my God, the Anunnaki are real on some interview. And he was going to NEFCON, which was a Nephilincon, to speak with Timothy Alberino. That's what I think is loony, by the way, is Nephilim and Anunnaki more than anything else.
Yeah. To counter that as well, maybe we should just quickly talk about our qualifications as actual experts on this topic. So if you're coming here from Flint's channel, you've not come across me before. Hi, my name is Rachel. I run Inside Archaeology. I have an undergraduate degree in Near Eastern and Classical Archaeology. So that's Mesopotamia, Egypt, Greece, Rome, broadly. And then an undergraduate in Human Osteoarchaeology. And I have worked as an archaeologist in the UK. And before I specialized in osteoarchaeology, my first love was Egypt. And I would say that if there was any kind of topic that I tend to specialize on in my channel, it would be Egypt. I do lots of videos on it of all different periods, etc. But yeah, it was my first love, the thing that really drew me into it. So I'm not specifically an Egyptologist, but I do know a lot about it.
Okay, perfect. And yeah, we have the connection of being osteologists. I've done archaeology for most of my life because my dad was an archaeologist, which is why my name is Flint. 1 second, I have a flint tool here. I have a lovely flint tool here.
Nice.
And so I grew up doing archaeology on Neanderthal cave sites, mostly in Southwest France. And then my main focus, though, in my own research is Greek archaeology, and I'm specifically a zooarchaeologist, so I study animal bones. But I've worked all over the Mediterranean, including in Egypt. I excavated in Abydos, and I've taught a lot of Egyptian archaeology as well. And I've been there a couple times. It's a lovely place. I plan on going back again soon to do some more YouTube videos on it myself, get some on-site footage. And I currently teach at Cardiff University. And I don't know, I publish on Greek animal bones and I excavate in the Greek world and that kind of stuff. So I have excavated, I don't know how many cubic meters of sediment, but it is many, many, many cubic meters of sediment. I suppose I'm most famous for being the field director that excavated the tomb of the Griffin warrior at the Palace of Nestor in Pylos in Greece. And so So yeah, so we both have decades of experience doing archaeology, and we've gotten our hands dirty and sandy, and we love Egypt and we love Giza as well, and that's what we're going to be diving into in this video. So just, I guess, to set everybody up, the first half of this video is a conversation between Piers Morgan and Zahi Hawass, and it's interesting, but it's also a fairly straight up conversation like you get when you interview an expert. Then the next half of it is these three experts, and by experts we mean YouTubers. We don't mean they've never done any archaeology in their lives. They grill Zahi Hawass, and that's where the sort of fireworks start. So I don't know, anything you want to say before we get started? Should we just jump in?
They wouldn't know what a Harris matrix is if it slapped them in the face.
For those that don't know, a Harris matrix is where you put the sequence of the different strata in your site in order, which does not mean from top to bottom, though that would be a simple order. It just means
that would be lovely.
That would be absolutely lovely. Yes, indeed. But this video gets wild. It's actually a pretty good video in my mind. I've had to watch it a couple times, mainly because I had to record parts.
So Flint's watched it a few times. I haven't watched it at all. So I've
watched it 1.5 times.
Okay, 1.5. Well, yeah. I'm going entirely fresh. So you're going to get my actual my first time reactions.
Good. This is going to be good. I got myself a beer here to enjoy myself. I might have several because I have a feeling this conversation is going to be wild because the accusations are wild and everything's a little crazy. Yeah, well, we can do this while we are getting in. Let's do this.
Okie doke.
Dr. Zahi Hawass is a world-renowned Egyptian archaeologist and a global authority on the Great Pyramids. His many admirers consider him a cultural icon, a ferocious defender of ancient antiquities, even a real-life Indiana Jones. His critics, however, some of whom we'll hear from later, believe he's a gatekeeper wielding an academic iron fist to silence the myriad alternative theories about the pyramids' many mysteries. There was a huge response to his last appearance on Uncensored. When I discovered he was here in London, inaugurating the exhibit of Ramses at Battersea Power Station, well, I had to invite him into my studio, and I'm glad to say Dr. Zahi.
I have to say I'm very disappointed Zahi did not get in touch with me, given that he was in the UK. I would have loved to have him on. Instead, he went on Piers Morgan. But yeah, he was giving a talk in London a few days ago, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know that there was is that like the Ramses the Great exhibit?
I know the Ramses the Great. Yeah, it must be because that's at the Battersea Power Center as well. So it must have been affiliated with the Ramses the Great exhibit. Which I've not been yet. Have you been?
No, I live in Scotland. So
okay. So
I don't venture south of the wall very often. Someone asked me what my favorite epoch of Egyptian civilization is. My fave. I'll have to say I'm an 18th dynasty obsession. Hatshepsut's my favorite pharaoh, unsurprisingly.
I've dropped the Ramses the Great exhibit link in the chat for people, so you can check it out. But yeah, so that's probably what he's here for.
Great to meet you.
Thank you. The same. I'm happy to see you.
It's great to meet you in person. You are, whatever people think of you, and like everyone at the top of their game, you attract praise and critics and jealousy and all sorts of things. You are, by common consent, probably the greatest expert in the pyramids of Egypt in the world. Would you say that's the reality?
I think if you talk about Giza and the Great Pyramid, there is two people that you can talk to. Mark Leaner, who's an American, and myself. Me and Mark worked for the last 50 years. We excavated every piece of sand at Giza, and we published a great book by Timson Hudson.
1,000 pages.
1,000 pages.
Yeah.
Explaining everything about Khufu Pyramid and all the discoveries that we made at Giza Plateau and inside the Great Pyramid of Khufu.
Right, so
one of the things I got to say, I mean, I typically think Zahi Hawass is a really good archaeologist who's had a great career, who's done a lot of cool stuff and published a lot of cool stuff. But it really annoys me when he says, talk about Giza, there's only two people in the world to talk to. And it's like, sorry, Zahi, there's other people that have worked at Giza too, that have spent a lot of time publishing this kind of stuff and researching this kind of stuff. They're pretty knowledgeable as well. And for you to just talk about you and your buddy, and again, Mark Leaner is also an amazing archaeologist who's done a lot of Giza. But come on, man, there's
they're not the only ones.
Yeah, this isn't like a old boys club with just two people in it.
Also,
You know?
I mean, it's incredibly nitpicky, but using language like we've excavated every grain of sand at Giza implies that they've finished excavating there, and or they've excavated everything that there is to be excavated, which is 100% not the case, and is the kind of thing that will get like picked up by people because I mean, what Giza's been excavated for over 100 years at this point, and they're still not done finding
Yeah.
everything that's there.
Exactly. There's still plenty of sand there, and it's just his way of being a little more ostentatious, which you know gets him attention and gets attention for Egyptology. So in that sense, I don't necessarily find as much fault with it as you do, though I do agree it's not very nuanced and not very academic.
Well, I think it's more that for me, it's more that it implies to people that like it's done. It's a settled question.
Yeah,
right.
I agree. Yeah, when he's like, I excavated every piece of sand at Giza as if there's nothing left to do, but they're still doing. Mark Leaner, I think, is still doing excavations at Giza.
Yeah.
And Zahi's no longer the archaeologist in charge of Giza. There's plentiful other things going on. What's the guy's name?
He's the. Is it the? Are you talking about the one that was his apprentice that got canned because of the Menkaura pyramid?
No, I'm talking about the guy who's actually there now. I covered him in my Mr. Beast video. I can't remember his name right now, though. I feel bad.
That's okay.
I should know him. But yeah. Okay, let's move on. Sorry.
Viewers who come to this as sort of pyramid virgins, who don't know much about the pyramids or the history or whatever, there are approximately 118 to 138 identified pyramids in Egypt, with counts varying based on how archaeologists classify severely eroded or unfinished structures. So on that, how many do you think there are?
Pyramids?
Yes.
We have exactly 120 pyramids.
120.
Of kings and queens from Dynasty 3 up to the New Kingdom Dynasty 18.
And some of them are vast, and some of them presumably are eroded.
You know, why Giza pyramids are the best? Because Giza Plateau is a part of the Mokattam Formation. It consists of 3 levels, the stones. Level 1 and 2 are very bad stones. But level 3 is the best quality of stones that never seen in any site in Egypt.
I just wanted to bring up that he's definitely right. The stones at Giza, particularly in that third level, the third member it's called, of that sort of geological formation there, are, you know, they're high quality, hard limestone, which makes them ideal for making such big pyramids. Unlike pyramids in other sites like Saqqara and Dashur and Hawara and whatnot, the limestone's just not as dense there. So it's not as great for constructing something as grand and large.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that also makes a big difference when you think about the Sphinx. We'll get to that, though, because we'll discuss the Sphinx, the geology of it.
This is why the 3 pyramids at Giza are unique among all the other pyramids.
So there are 3 Giza Plateau pyramids. They're the most famous.
Yes.
And the majority of the others are scattered across ancient sites across the Nile.
Because people doesn't see, like the pyramids of Khufu's father are really the same size of the pyramid of Khufu. But people doesn't go to Dashur because Dashur is away. But, you know, I want to tell you one important thing.
Can you pause it
If you come to Egypt
for a sec? I
No,
just
you're
want to
good.
say this is one of my like biggest bugbears when people talk about like, oh, they couldn't have built the Great Pyramid or whatever. Nobody talks about Snefru, who literally built 3 pyramids over the course of his reign. And when they kind of do like guesswork as to what that would have needed, would have actually required more like materials, labor, time, etc., than just building Khufu's pyramid. He built 3. And he had to build 3 because they were experimenting with the straight-sided shape, because one of them is literally bent because they figured out halfway through that they got the angle wrong. Like,
Yes, exactly. I might have a image of the bent one.
yeah, they have one of them. They built it in a bad site so that they think. They're not sure when it happened, but at some point the sides of it collapsed, which they think, okay, they maybe gave up on that. Then they started doing the bent pyramid and it was squint. And then the final one that they arrived at is the red pyramid, which probably might have been the one that he was buried in, but he's not been found in it. But yes, and also, where's your love for the step pyramid here? The original.
Yeah, well, I just have these here, but yeah, my favorite actually is this red pyramid. I really think, I don't know why, the proportions of it to me just look so nice.
It is very nice looking. Yeah. I also, what was it? Like somebody said in the chat, I saw it somewhere, like, oh, I thought they finished building them in the Middle Kingdom. They were still building pyramids up until the New Kingdom. I think the last one is like a cenotaph. It's like, it's just a block. It's not got tombs under it or anything. It's for a New Kingdom pharaoh. But one of the reasons as well why the later ones don't look so great is because effectively what they did is Khufu stuff and all of these pyramids, you have to think of them as like being of like the quality of how everything was made in our lives like 50 years ago. Things were built to last. And then we found plastic and all of these new ways of making things cheaply and en masse. And we started doing that, and now things don't last anymore. The exact same thing happened with the pyramids. They evolved the techniques, and they weren't able to spend as much money on building them all entirely out of limestone. So they started making the outer face limestone and the inner face of it mud brick, which doesn't last nearly as well.
Yes,
and so they cheapened the materials that they were making it out of, and now they all look like crap. That's partially as well why Khufu's looks so good, is because it's 100% stone.
Yeah, it's all limestone. You're completely right. That's why, like, for example, the Hawara pyramid, it's got that mud brick core and it just looks like a hill that's slumping and whatnot. Somebody brought up a good point in the chat. It was an evolution of their technology, which you can see really clearly from the step pyramid to the bent pyramid to the Great Pyramids and stuff like that. So yeah, very good point. Let's get.
Sorry, had to bring that up.
Don't apologize.
Hawass.
Oh wait, it does that. 1 second. We were right.
Here. Of Khufu, but people doesn't go to that shore because that shore is away. But I want to tell you one important thing. If you come to Egypt, and I'm waiting,
I'm going to do it,
and you will stood in front of the Great.
Do you know who contacted me, by the way, after our last interview? I got an email from an old friend of mine, Robbie Williams, the singer. Are you familiar with Robbie?
Of course.
He was watching, and he said, I want to come with you to Egypt. So we may have quite a star-studded group.
Perfect.
Robbie Williams is one of my wife's favorite singers.
That would be hilarious.
Be overjoyed. I like how Piers is just using this to network for like a trip to Egypt, though.
Yeah.
Just tell me, we'll give you the red carpet. But I want to tell you, if you stood in front of the Great Pyramid.
Yes, which I really want to do. I want to do this.
And you look at it, you will never believe that it was built by human beings.
No, well, that's what we're going to come to this, because we've discussed it last time. But
okay.
It is fascinating. So the Giza pyramids were constructed during the 4th dynasty of Egypt's Old Kingdom over a span of about 85 years. So roughly between 2600 BC and 2500 BC.
Yes.
And there are pyramids not exclusively in Egypt, but also Sudan, Mexico, and a couple of other areas. But the key point about this is that the most majestic and magnificent and kind of, in a way, inexplicable are the Giza pyramids.
Yes.
And that's become your life's obsession. Would you accept the word obsession?
I spent my life working and writing.
Speaking of someone spending their whole life and not always getting enough credit, I just want to share this really quickly because I think it's worthwhile to share.
Oh, I love that. I love that meme. I have that on my computer somewhere.
100%. When you dedicate your whole life to building the pyramids and you see aliens or Atlantis getting credit, well, I'd be pissed off too if I was Khafre.
Yeah. I love that meme.
And defending and talking about it and lecturing. And I always base what I say on evidence. I never say something that I create. No. When I say anything about Khufu Pyramid, I always give evidence and what
we're going to come to the Khufu Pyramid in particular because there's been a new discovery concerning that. But let's start because since you last appeared on Uncensored, the main event in the world of Egyptology, for want of a better phrase, has been the opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum in Giza.
Oh, I want to go so bad.
November 2025.
So do I. It looks friggin' awesome.
Oh, I can't wait till my kid is old enough, and then she will be getting dragged through that museum.
Exactly.
Get some footage over here.
I hope I can go next winter.
Largest archaeological museum in the world dedicated
Have
to
you
a single
seen the videos of the people not realizing that there's like a pond in it and they walk in the pond? They keep on walking in the water in the lobby.
I have not.
Yeah.
Oh, now I want to see this.
It's like people are too distracted by the giant statues, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Whoa!" and they fall into a pool.
Wait, is this on YouTube or anything like that?
I don't know. I think I saw them on Instagram or something. Right around the opening, it was like people not realizing that there's a pond in the middle of the lobby.
Here, wait. I think I found.
They might have had to put up stuff to keep people from walking in it.
1 second.
So also, someone was saying, I think he worked on Zahi Hawass. If you ask Zahi Hawass has worked on every archaeological site in Egypt. But his career, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
This is just classic. Oh my God, tourists
Yeah.
can be really stupid.
I mean, aggravated by selfie-itis, right? Like people putting their phone up and then not having any situational awareness around them whatsoever. But Zahi Hawass's career, like actual working career, started at the pyramids. He has his master's and a PhD, but he actually started off as an inspector. So someone kind of like overseeing what was happening at the pyramids and probably overseeing dig teams and making sure that everything was above board. But that's largely where his like early career and a lot of his most famous excavations were. Was at Giza, and then he eventually rose to become the antiquities minister for the entire country.
Yeah, well, he started off as an inspector, but then he actually was the head of Giza.
Yeah.
And then he was the minister of antiquities. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Displayed together for the first time. It cost over $1 billion.
$2 billion.
$2 billion.
Yeah.
Wow. And Dr. Zahi, your credit has been the mastermind of this project. When you finally got to open
Which he was not, but
what were you feeling?
You know, I have to tell you, the Grand Museum was...
Which, by the way, is something key. Zahi gets credit and blame for everything in Egyptology, even though he's no longer in charge. And so it's like really silly.
Was really our dream. Is to show to the world that we are building a museum that nothing like it at all. You know, when I debate people about returning stolen artifacts, people used to tell me, you don't have good museums. You have bad museums. Why do we send you our artifacts back? I did a debate with the Oxford student, and people said the same. But this is why we built this museum. We moved Ramses II statue from the train station to receive everyone. We moved the boat, Khufu's boat, that located south of the Great Pyramid, to a small museum next to the Great Pyramid. 100 statues of kings and queens. And the most important are Tutankhamun. More than 5,000 artifacts are shown in a beautiful way for the first time. And 12 galleries with more than 60.
What's been the reaction of people when they've been?
Oh my God. Tutankhamun has those, what was it? Those sandals where like Tutankhamun has barefoot sandals, guys. Tutankhamun had them first.
Oh man, so cool. There's older sandals than Tutankhamun's, but
yeah. It's just the fact that they have the toes.
Yeah, exactly. The Tutankhamun's toes are still there.
Yeah.
When we opened it, we had 43 kings, queens, and a president. And that was really a good message.
Amazing.
To tell people that Egypt's safe.
Yeah.
And the second thing, that from the opening until today, every day, 15,000 visitors.
Really? Every single day?
Every day. And we cannot take more than 15,000.
Which basically means that every day it's completely sold out.
Yeah.
Which is nuts. They can't take more than 15,000, and every day there's 15,000. It's just, I really want to go, but I also would rather go when there's not so many crowds.
Yeah.
So I can photograph everything over the course of like 5 days.
Yeah. I know many people who like are involved in Egyptology who were getting tours of it before it was officially opened. I really wish I would have been able to, I mean, never would have happened, but I wish I would have been able to be on one of those tours because that would have been really cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. Oh, well. Zahi told me after I interviewed him, I'll play a clip from the interview later because it's relevant. But he told me that he would get me in there. Let's see if, I don't know. He doesn't know.
Keep in mind who your friends are.
Yeah,
Flint.
exactly. Now you sound like Piers Morgan trying
Just
to
saying, I'm wearing my Nefertiti collar shirt that everyone comments on whenever I wear it in a video. It's from the British Museum. And it's modeled after her famous collar from her bust. So just saying.
It surprised me because the reaction we've had whenever we do the pyramids on this show is enormous. I mean, it takes me by surprise that
I was on the very first episode they did on the pyramids, actually, on that show with the enormous reaction with Milo Rossi, Jimmy Corsetti, and Dan Richards. Yeah.
global fascination with these objects, these pieces of historic architecture, is gigantic, isn't it?
It is, and also it has magic. Like if you come and look at an object with a beautiful display for the first time, and in a grand museum like this, and it's something fascinating everyone. I could see people who go in front of the Golden Mask. They cry.
Really?
They could not believe that they see a beautiful object like this, 11 kilos of gold. And this is why most of the visitors go and stood in front of the Golden Mask of Tutankhamun.
11 kilos of gold. Like, talk about some bling. And that's like from some crappy child pharaoh.
Yeah, that's like, it just really puts into perspective the artifacts that have been lost over the years. Like, which to me also, I mean, I get why people want there to be some kind of secret hidden treasure room underneath in the pyramids, etc., that's been hidden from us for ages. Like, I get that, because that would be amazing, and that would be so cool to be able to find, which is partially why all the scan pyramid stuff is actually really exciting, because that's like the closest we've ever come to potentially locating something else inside of it. But sadly, I think that it's probably not there.
We'll see. Though we're going to talk about that in a second.
Houses the world-famous Tutankhamun collection. It was the British, in the form of Howard Carter and Lord Carnarvon, who were behind the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922. And at the time, and ever since, there have been lots of accusations that the evacuation was grave robbing and a kind of cultural colonization by the British. Do you believe that?
I do believe, but even I believe in that, but I do respect Howard Carter. Howard Carter was not educated, but he was a great man who educated himself and became, in my opinion, the best archaeologist of that time.
Really?
He excavated 5,398 objects in a beautiful way.
If they hadn't done what they did, would you have had this amazing part of your museum?
Never.
I mean, so it is a kind of means
It is
to an end.
because of Howard Carter.
Yeah.
We can really thank him for
But you
that.
think it was a form of grave robbing? That it was?
Because Lord Carnarvon was a businessman and he wants to make money. And this is why he was shocked when he found out.
Which, let's be clear, this was in the 20th century, when if you remove material from Egypt at that time, that would be illegal. So it whether you want to call it archaeology or grave robbing, it is illegal to remove this stuff from Egypt at that time.
Yeah.
100%.
Also, still in like the infancy of archaeology and archaeological methods, and kind of one of those things that needs to be considered when you're looking back at these people who were literally figuring out and like how this stuff is, how to do this stuff, rather than us already kind of knowing how it's done, even somebody who's not an archaeologist.
Sure, but Howard Carter was late enough that they'd already figured out stratigraphy and a bunch of stuff like that. And there were already laws in place about not taking stuff out. So, I mean, I don't know. I think that in particular, Lord Carnarvon is an issue there.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. It's still relatively early, but it was a proper field.
I'm not saying that they didn't know anything at all. They're not Heinrich Schliemann.
No, because this is the 1920s. Yeah, exactly.
Let's not even go there. We don't have enough time on this stream. But it's a different time. But yeah, I don't think that. I mean, are they saying that the intention was to take them away? That's why Carnarvon financed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they're saying, because he wanted to own it. But the thing was, the law was, if it was an intact tomb, you can't remove stuff. And since it was an intact tomb, though, newsflash, it was actually mildly robbed in antiquity. But I have a video that I'm working on slowly on tomb robbery, and I go into the robbing of King Tut's tomb in detail. But that's for the future. That's not going to come out until the end of the summer at the least. Okay, let's do some more.
That he cannot take any object from the tomb, because the law say if you discover an intact tomb, you cannot take anything out of Egypt.
See, I just said that.
Made him to take lots of objects out of the tomb.
People said he was cursed as a result of it. Do you believe that?
No, but he came to Egypt because he was sick. The idea of the curse, people created that because Lord Carnarvon gave exclusive rights to London Times.
Really?
Then the other people in the press could not write anything. And this is why when he died 5 months after the discovery, they created the idea of the curse of Tutankhamun.
You've set up the 1 million signature petition. This is to demand the return of 3 other great Egyptian artifacts back to the homeland of Egypt. The bust of Nefertiti, which is in Berlin, the Rosetta Stone in London, and the Dendera Zodiac in Paris. And on the website...
Here, 1 second. Let me pull up this website and share it in the chat. I recommend everybody sign these petitions for returning the bust of Nefertiti, the Rosetta Stone, and the Dendera Zodiac. At least I am in favor of this. I don't know if you are, but I am. So I'm sharing the link. Please go sign the petition because I fully believe in repatriating the Egyptian material to Egypt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
When artifacts are removed from Egypt illegally and sold, this only encourages and emboldens thieves. I'm sorry to say that museums that continue to display these artifacts and refuse to return them only continue to participate in imperialism and cannot be believed when they denounce it. I mean, they're strong words. I mean, I guess what they would say is, isn't the reality about ancient artifacts that they're scattered all over the world? A lot of them may have been acquired by slightly nefarious means hundreds of years ago or wherever it may be. Do we really want to apply today's morality, law, and so on to go back to, ancient history in some cases and claim proprietorial rights? Because
yes, Piers, we do. I'm sorry, but the people should have the right to control their own heritage. At least that's my own opinion.
I can't remember. Was it the Elgin marbles that I was reading about this about?
You mean the Parthenon marbles? Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're
Apologies.
fine. just for people that might not understand Elgin.
Yeah, Parthenon. I remember reading something somewhere like the petition. I agree with the repatriation in general, but I find it really interesting that some of the replies from, I think it's the British Museum, and I can't remember if it's in relation to the Parthenon marbles or the Rosetta Stone. So, but same difference really, is that there's these petitions going for it, but their response generally is until we receive a request from the government of these places for these objects, we can't really negotiate it. So I find it really interesting that Zahi Hawass and clearly a lot of Egyptologists and a lot of people feel really strongly about this, but the Egyptian government is just, it seems like it's just meh.
Well, I don't know if that's quite true because the Greek government has certainly demanded the Parthenon marbles back 100%.
Yeah.
In fact, they've had high-level discussions with the prime minister himself demanding them back.
Yeah. Well, maybe it was in relation to the Rosetta Stone then.
Yeah, possibly. But even then, that's not, it's actually against British law to repatriate stuff except for skeletal remains.
Yeah.
And so there's been examples of skeletal remains being repatriated, but that's been part of the big holdup is it needs an act of parliament to actually go ahead and return anything other than skeletal remains. And I mean, Zahi's going to discuss this a little bit, but just to make clear to everybody, me saying I'm in favor of repatriation does not mean I think that every single Egyptian artifact in the UK or elsewhere should go back to Egypt. I think that Egypt should have the right to decide. And I don't think Egypt would decide if they were partners with the UK or the British Museum or whatnot, that they'd want everything back. They'd want to keep some stuff here because it's advertisement for their country. But what they want back is, certain objects that are important to them, to their cultural heritage. Which Zahi, if I remember, is going to explain sort of.
Imagine what all those countries, Germany, the UK, France, they might say, well, hang on, if you're going to play that game, there will be some stuff in the Middle East that we want back. In other words, it never ends once you start that. What do you say to that?
No, but listen, if you look at what happened in the past during imperialism, when the British occupied Egypt, look how they really, destroyed the country by taking the treasures out. Look at artifacts of the British Museum. I can tell you, Budge, he was the curator of that museum.
Yes.
Read what he wrote, how he took an object out. The Ani papyri, one of the most important papyri. You know how he took it out of the country? It's a sad story. The papyri was in a store. He brought kebab to the guards and he began to eat with them. And other people around him dug underneath and they took the papyri
Really?
out. Yes. Then what I'm saying,
And that's now in the British Museum.
it is in the British Museum now, one of the most important artifacts. What
One thing I want to bring up is I literally just discussed Bunch and his disgusting ways of acquiring papyri with Eric Klein a few days ago on my channel. I'm going to pop that in the chat. Amarna letters.
The thing that I think is a really interesting as well, addition to this, is the Menkaura sarcophagus.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was in Egypt. It was a sarcophagus that actually had something on it. I think there was someone in it, but they established that it was a later burial. Or was that just in the pyramid? I could be
No.
that
So
up.
the sarcophagus itself is probably the real sarcophagus, but there was a later burial of skeletal remains in it, which keep this in mind. There's a lot of, in fact, it was the Khafre one that had the bull. But reusing sarcophagi, because we're going to discuss that later on today.
Yeah.
And this happens all the time. And in the major pyramid of Menkaura in Giza, it was reused with a 16th century dynasty. No, sorry, 6th century BC. So the very last Egyptian dynasty, the Sa'idic dynasty, there were skeletal remains in the Menkaura sarcophagus, which keep that in mind.
Yeah, but anyway, so there was a sarcophagus in the Menkaura pyramid, and it had some carvings on it and all this kind of stuff.
Beautiful.
And they put it, but we don't have any photographs of it. We just have drawings. They put it on a boat to ship it to Britain, and it sank in the Mediterranean. So it's currently sitting at the bottom of the sea because of imperialism.
Because of imperialism. Here is the image of this Menkaura podcast. What the hell? Sarcophagus. It was apparently one of the most elaborately carved sarcophagus at Giza, and it's gone because it was sank to the bottom of the sea while they were taking it. Yeah. Damn filthy plunderers. Okay.
saying, I'm not after every...
Do you want them to hand it back?
No, I'm not.
Which, by the way, Glenn, thank you. I meant to say 26 instead of Dynasty 16. Exactly.
So hard to keep these things straight.
There's a lot of numbers. I got the six right. Come on.
But this is the story. I'm not after every artifact back at all. What is in the British Museum, stay.
Okay.
I am saying...
So why are you exercised about these particular...
I am saying we need one artifact from the British Museum, the Rosetta Stone.
Yes.
It is the...
Actually, he means two, because he means the Zodiac things as well. But
no, the Zodiac's in the Louvre.
Oh,
in Paris.
Right.
But interestingly, again, we're never going to get through all of this because I feel like we have too much to say. I don't remember this person's name. I met them through a friend of a friend at an event many years ago, right around when the Rosetta Stone, the British Museum was doing like a Rosetta Stone exhibit. Mm-hmm. And she may or may not have been working on it at some point in some capacity. And we were kind of talking about the Rosetta Stone. And it's not to say something either or, but she did bring up an interesting point that I had never heard before, which was that the Rosetta Stone, yes, okay, it's an Egyptian artifact, et cetera, but it was never important until Europeans made that discovery about the translating of the hieroglyphs. And also, unlike something like the Nefertiti bust or the Dendera mosaic, it is not a unique artifact in that there's like copies of it. It's not the only it's a decree. We call it the Rosetta Stone because it was found in Rosetta, but the decree, the actual document that it is not the only stone that we have found since then that contains that specific document that we could have only learned it from. I think the term she used was like, there's like a father decree and a grandfather decree. So they can actually trace a lot of, which I don't think it shouldn't necessarily waive the argument either way, but was something that I personally hadn't learned about it before that I thought was interesting.
Yeah. No, I mean, I read the Rosetta Stone in ancient Greek for an inscriptions class. And there's actually a bunch of different bilingual and trilingual inscriptions as well from Ptolemaic Egypt, which have hieroglyphs on them, Demotic on them, and ancient Greek on them, which can be used to crack the code. Because I've seen people online say, well, if Europeans never found the Rosetta Stone, we'd never be able to read hieroglyphs. So praise European colonialism.
No.
And my response is no, because the Egyptologists in Egypt would have discovered other trilingual.
It would have happened eventually.
Yeah, it would have happened no matter what, because there's something like a dozen trilingual inscriptions and several dozen bilingual Egyptian inscriptions. But yeah.
So yeah, that is. I don't think it really has an argument either way, but it just wasn't something about it that I hadn't known before.
Yeah.
Of the Egyptian identity.
What's it worth, the Rosetta Stone?
It was
Priceless?
found in a site called Rosetta near Alexandria, and it was written in 2 languages: the ancient Egyptian language, hieroglyphic and demotic, and the Greek language. And Champollion was really the one who discovered.
What's his value now? Would you think?
The value?
Yeah.
The value, because this is the icon of the Egyptian identity.
What would it be?
And
He just keeps avoiding the question, which is what you should do, because it doesn't have a value.
It can't have a value. It's priceless.
Yeah.
When I came the first time to England here, I did 2 things. One, I took a taxi and I did visit the tomb of Howard Carter. And the second thing, I gave a talk at the British Museum. When I gave a talk at the British Museum, at the end, they made a dinner for me. And the director gave a speech. And I stood up to give a speech. And I had some jokes. I said, listen, I'm the only one who can talk to the pharaohs. While I was seated, Ramses II came to me. Said, Zahi, I miss Egypt so much. I want to go back. It's cold in London. And Thutmose III came and told me the same. But the 2 came back. I said, Zahi, no, we are not going to go with you. We take Rosetta Stone, because Rosetta Stone is the icon of our Egyptian identity. It became next day, boom, in all the paper. That Rosetta Stone was in a dark area in the British Museum, because I said what I said about the
Now
Rosetta
they put
Stone
it front center stage.
became the most important thing.
But what is it worth, do you think?
No, it is. No.
You were guessing a value.
No, the value is what is considering. Because of that, we know ancient Egypt. Because of that,
Can you put a modern day value on it?
As somebody in the chat is saying, is Piers trying to buy it? Like, is he trying to sell it? Like, why does he care? Why does it matter?
And somebody else in the chat says, am I an expert on colonialism? I'm an archaeologist. We deal with colonialism. So yes, I am. Sorry, I work in other countries. I have dealt with this stuff a lot. I work in museums. Like, that's what we do, baby. Bacon quagga.
in objects.
Right.
It's priceless. These
You said
are
that.
priceless objects. And this is why I really ask for one object to come back. I'm not after most of the objects in the British Museum at all, or in any museum. I want the 3 objects to come back. And I will not stop.
I mean, you are sounding a bit like Indiana Jones now. How do you take that? Do you like that comparison?
It's not bad if the public
I don't know.
Indiana Jones is literally the opposite. Like,
loves someone and say things.
Have you ever met Harrison Ford?
We did projects together.
Really?
And,
All right, now I'm jealous of Zahi Hawass. This is the first
I
time I'm
know.
jealous. Yeah.
I'm jealous of all the people that saw him out cycling in northern England when they were filming the 5th film. And I'm jealous of all of the people that got to be extras on the set in Glasgow when I thought I was going to be an extra on Indiana Jones 5. And it turns out I was just in the fucking Flash.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was filming the week after.
Yeah.
I told everybody I was going to be an extra in Indiana Jones 5, and I showed up for the costume fitting, and they were like, ooh, no, it's the Flash. And I was like, oh, man.
Bastards.
But I did get to see Ben Affleck's stunt double go around on the Batmobile on Glasgow and chase some bad guys and see some pretty cool stunt driving. So
Very nice. Very nice.
this live TV in this coming November, I would like him to be the one to be beside me.
Really?
Yeah, showing the whole world what we found inside the.
Does he
Great
know that you're known as the Indiana
Yeah, of course.
Jones?
Because George Lucas, when he came to Egypt, he came to do one thing. He said, I came here, I saw the pyramid 3 times. I came here to ask you one question. Why your hat became more famous than Harrison Ford hat? And I told him, my hat is the real archaeology hat, but the Harrison Ford hat is the fake one. And it's true. My hat now People sell it, and the money
Really?
the money went for the construction of the Children's Museum, and now for the hospital with cancer. And there is a movie made about my life. It's shown now. It's called The Man with the Hat, and there is a book.
Why are you not wearing?
You know, I have to say, I actually thought really bad things of Zahi for having like his own clothing line and selling his hat, because I find that to be kind of cheesy, especially the way he did it. But if the money is going for cancer hospitals and other kind of major things like that, maybe I need to revise some of my thoughts on some of that, because if he's really donating that kind of glitzy funds.
Is it just a Tilly hat? I don't even remember what his hat looks like.
Let's look it up. Zahi Hawass hat.
Oh, the cat's here to say hello. She always has to come in the chat, say hello to everybody, Emma.
Hello.
We'll have an instant spike in the views. Yeah, I know you have.
These are the hats. Own a replica of my hat to save
Bye-bye.
children's lives today. So yeah, he's actually explicitly selling it.
Oh, okay.
To raise money for.
I don't know if I would
children's
say that
hospitals.
it's more famous than Indiana Jones's hat.
Yeah, I don't know
but,
if I would either,
um,
but whatever.
That's what he wants to think. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Got to turn my light on. One sec.
You're good.
Wearing this hat.
I was thinking really to come and appear with you in this show with the hat.
Okay,
But
save it for my
the
trip.
next time.
Now, at the end of last year, you announced a new archaeological discovery inside the Pyramid of Khufu, one of the seven wonders of the ancient world. Utilizing advanced scanning and robotic technologies, researchers detected what appears to be, this is fascinating, appears to be a 30-meter corridor leading to a sealed door within the pyramid. And it's said that what is behind the door could change Egyptology forever. So the obvious question is, what do you think's behind the door?
No, not behind the door. We have the doors. We have the two voids. We have a corridor.
Yeah, okay, that's
Where
what I thought
did he
they were
get all
talking
of that from?
I have no idea where Piers got that from, because let's look at this on the screen. This was published when it was first announced like 10 years ago. The big void is this thing right here.
Yeah.
And there's just this little air shaft. It's tiny. These air shafts are like, something like this.
Mhm.
So it's not like some sort of door and entrance to some sort of thing. And there's a huge amount of speculation over what this big void could be. I think it's been announced that they're going to be exploring it in the fall.
Yeah, because they've been wanting, because they've brought this up, I think, on the, I don't know if it was Piers Morgan or Joe Rogan or one of the other things that I watched last year, but they were like, oh, why don't you just like go in it? It's like, yeah, well, we can't, we're past the days, guys, where we could just use dynamite to blast our way through the whole thing. Like, I know that's how we did it in the old days, but we're not allowed to do that anymore. So you have to find a way to get cameras, to get equipment through incredibly small cracks, or, this thing is incredibly well designed, as we all keep banging on about. Like, it's not a simple process of like, oh, let's just shove a camera up there. Like, let's just put the GoPro through that. Like, that's not how it works.
Though, as we'll see, that's what Jimmy Corsetti thinks it is. But the big question over what this big void is, in my opinion, from what I've heard a bunch of Egyptologists tell me, is that it's probably just like less stone in this area and more
It's just-
sand.
Yeah.
And so it's to relieve weight over the grand gallery, just like you have all this weight
The
relieving
relieving
stuff
chambers.
over the king's chamber.
Yeah.
That said, Zahi has a very different opinion, which is probably just trying to gin up some excitement because he wants to do this live. Let's see what he thinks it is.
Amazing thing that we found until now. I still believe that Khufu's real burial chamber is still hidden inside the pyramid. And this void has to do with this burial chamber.
Which, all right. Okay, he thinks this is Khufu's burial chamber, but one quick question from the chat was, is this from the Muon scans? And yes, this is from the Muon scans. Do you think this could be Khufu's burial chamber, Rachel?
No. I mean, I would like it if it would, that would be great. I'm happy to be wrong. Contrary to popular belief that archaeologists hate being wrong, I'm happy for that thing to be full of treasure and written documents and mummified remains that date to the 4th dynasty. Like, more than happy for that to be the case. I don't think it is. Partially based on the fact that they did put a camera up the small void, which is near to because there was a crack because that's near the entrance. They were able to get a camera up there when it was first discovered, and it was just an empty space.
We have some good ideas in the chat for what the void could be. The first one comes from your fans: is the big void the void in Piers Morgan's Piers Moron's heart that caused him to be such a terrible human being, which is absolutely hilarious to think of and kind of mean, but hilarious. Another one is someone in my chat. I've clearly trained them well. That void is probably just some generator room.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm assuming you're being sarcastic, Remus Veritas. So yeah, but we'll find out what the big void is soon enough. The reason I personally don't think we're going to find a burial chamber here is these shafts are tiny. They're absolutely tiny. You can't like walk up there. You can't move a coffin up there. All this kind of stuff. So I don't buy it, but whatever gins up excitement for it, sure.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what it is. It'll tell us more about the construction of the pyramid.
Yeah.
Which I think
cool. Either way, we'll learn something for it.
Yeah.
So happy to see it explored.
Exactly.
So you think this will unlock that secret?
Exactly.
Really?
And that's why I really believe in this coming month. I have an English team working with me, and we worked last year and this year. Next month, we are going to find out how can we find out and look what could be underneath this voids.
I mean, how hard is it to get behind a sealed door in a pyramid?
But now
It's not
you
a
have
sealed
to know
door.
that, new technology now is different.
Yeah.
You do not need to drill anymore.
Right.
With this new technology like ultrasound,
You can see
infrared,
through the stone.
You can see what's behind. You can see what's inside. And
So
this
when are you going to do this?
we are going to work in June. The English team is coming with these new techniques, and we're going to find out how exactly we're going to find out what's inside. How can we look at this void?
Tell me, I mean, could Khufu's tomb then become bigger than, say, Tutankhamun?
Oh, look, Khufu ruled for 28 years. He was a great king. You know, he's the king really that I really believe. I wrote a novel about Khufu because I.
How do you find the time for all this stuff?
Can I also just say that ironically at work, I actually work with people who do muon scanning. Not at the pyramids. It's for like commercial other purposes. But I was writing a document and somebody unrelated to them was like, should muon scanning, should we explain what that is? And I was just kind of saying, I was like, I feel like dumbing it down to the point where you say measuring cosmic rays to make 3D scans of like solid objects is going to raise
helpful.
more questions about what this is than just the name of what
I'm hoping to have Sam Gregson on, who's a physicist, to explain it to me in simpler terms that make sense.
Yeah.
We've talked about doing a collaboration on this, so expect that sometime probably this summer. I'll convince him. I'm going to his wedding, I think, so I'll be able to convince him there. We have a couple more suggestions for what this big void could be, which I think are worth sharing. Best case, it's a time capsule. Worst case, just some crumbled rock with mud. Or mold, actually, is the correction. Somebody else suggests that it could be for airflow to get some oxygen in there, which people have considered about the Great Pyramid of how to get air in there. That's one of the ideas for what the air shafts are. So it's plausible, I suppose.
Someone has asked if it's possible to visit the Grand Gallery as a tourist.
Oh, I think I saw that, and I meant to answer that. Yeah, it is definitely possible to visit the Grand Gallery. Let's pull back up this image. In fact, when you enter the pyramid, you sort of enter from here, and then you walk down, and then you walk up into the Grand Gallery, up to the King's Chamber. If you ever go visit, that's actually the route that you'll first take.
Yeah.
You can also go to the Queen's Chamber and the subterranean chamber, and yes, it's crowded and claustrophobic.
Also, I remember this from when I went, keep in mind it's over a decade ago, might be different now, but there's only a limited number of tickets every day to go into the Great Pyramid. So you buy a ticket to get into Giza, the site, but you specifically have to get a ticket to get into the pyramid, and they have a limited number per day. You might be able to buy them in advance now. I would hope so. But don't just rock up and think you can walk inside and that everyone's allowed in. No, of course they're going to charge you an extra ticket to go in there. That's just tourism. Oh, Flint's gone. I don't know where he's gone. Okay. Hello, there you are.
Okay.
I thought I was going to have to carry it for the rest of the time myself.
No, the software started crashing before even we started.
Can I also just ask how far are we along in the interview? Because we might have to speed things up.
Yeah, well, we're 15 and a half minutes in.
Oh, and we've been at this for an hour.
Yeah, let's try to keep going.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
But we have to keep pausing and stopping because we can't get hit for copyright stuff.
We might still get hit by copyright, but we can just challenge it.
But
I would-
I'm saying we have to do
Yeah.
proper reaction to this stuff.
Yeah.
It's guys, strap in. We have some exciting stuff coming because there's some major accusations that came out after this
Mhm.
interview. So if you're getting bored, don't be. It's gonna get crazy and wild. We're almost done with the Zahi Hawass only part, and we're gonna start getting fireworks
Yeah.
soon.
Oh,
So we're about
apparently-
nearly halfway done.
Apparently the Queen's Chamber is currently off limits in the pyramid because the Muon scanning kit is there. So keep that in mind.
That's possible if you're going right now. Yeah.
And I was just going to suggest maybe we could put up the speed of the video so then we get through it slightly faster.
It's already at 10% fast speed. It's going to move way too
right,
fast.
okay.
Yeah, I recorded it as fast as I felt was good.
Okay.
So it's not a full 55 minutes. It's something like 45 minutes total.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you ever sleep?
I'm workaholic.
Are you 7 days a week on pyramids?
No, 6 days.
Really? What day do you have off?
Because they have a young granddaughter. I play with her on Friday.
Friday. But otherwise, for 50 years, you thought about nothing else but pyramids.
Yes, I wrote about Khufu pyramid books and articles, and I did.
So how exciting would it be for you, just on a personal level, if you do discover that behind this corridor and sealed door is Khufu's tomb? How would that make you feel?
I would like.
I'd like it a lot.
My career by revealing the mystery and the secret of the Great Pyramid of Khufu.
Really?
This will make.
I mean,
That's the big one for
happiest
you.
man.
It's the Holy Grail.
And this can answer all the.
the unspoken, well, I don't know if he'll say this, but the thing about this that would be amazing for them especially is that it's a discovery made by an Egyptian.
Yes.
Because the vast majority of Egyptian history is known for being discovered by Western non-native archaeologists. And like I'm willing to bet that the Egyptian archaeology and the Egyptian state would absolutely love to have a major discovery like this to be made, to put it alongside Howard Carter and all of these other people. And that's actually kind of one of the reasons why I personally find all of these claims that they're always like hiding stuff as like to be like ridiculous. Like, you don't think that if they found something like that, they wouldn't be shouting, Zahi Hawass wouldn't be shouting it from the rooftops? I saw a quote somewhere once that said the most dangerous place to be in Egypt is between Zahi Hawass and a camera. Like,
I've heard that. That's a famous quote. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if there was a discovery to be made, Zahi
Which, by the
Hawass
way,
would be there
is
with
no-
a TV team.
while he has done a lot of other things, to be honest, he's not there for most of the major discoveries anymore.
Yeah.
'Cause he's no longer the Minister of Antiquities.
Yeah.
And so, but the big find from a year and a few months ago of the tomb of Pharaoh Thutmose II,
Yeah.
that was made by an Egyptian archaeologist, and
Yeah.
so that was a big deal for that reason. Yeah. So I agree.
About people think that I hide evidence about lost civilization. People accuse me all the time. But I say to people, how can I hide anything? You can't. I'm not working alone. There is a team around me. And this is why I want people to believe me and understand that as they want to reveal the secret of the pyramid, it's my role to do that for the world, not for them.
Would Khufu's tomb be a bigger Holy Grail discovery than Cleopatra's tomb?
Oh, not Cleopatra would be nothing in front of Khufu.
Really?
The discovery of the tomb of Khufu.
But maybe not to you, but to the wider world.
To the world, it's Khufu. Because this.
If it was you, Rachel, would you prefer to find Khufu or Cleopatra's tomb?
Both.
No, but if you had to choose
It depends.
between one.
Okay, are we saying like a completely untouched, intact tomb in both cases?
Just it doesn't matter. They're both equal in terms of what is like intactness. Would you rather find Cleopatra's tomb or Khufu's?
Oh, I don't know. You
just got to make a choice. This is just a live stream on YouTube.
But here's the thing: like Khufu would be amazing because we don't have.
Wait a second. If you're in the chat, tell us whether you would prefer to find Khufu's tomb or Cleopatra's while we discuss this briefly.
Yeah, so Khufu's tomb would be amazing because no other kings have ever been found of the old kingdom that I'm aware of. And there's this whole thing that people
are. No, the what's his name? Oh God, the unfinished pyramid of Neferefra.
Oh, right.
Ra-Neferef, he's been found.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I still like very little and would, you know, there's that whole, again, false thing of like, oh, we never find anything we've never found a person or like a burial inside the pyramids that's like,
again, the
contemporary
is the one example
yeah,
that actually is not, it is in a pyramid. It's in the unfinished pyramid. Yeah.
But obviously this would be more famous for Khufu. Treasures, I'm sure, would be insane. The stuff that was in his mom's shaft tomb that's just like below his is like gorgeous jewelry, all that kind of stuff. And also would then, you know, allow us to lay to rest, I would hope, the vast majority of the conspiracy theories about the pyramids. Cleopatra's tomb, differently, would be also amazing, because I'm sure it would also be, well, maybe not sure, but I would like to think that it was also incredibly rich with like a wide variety of very different but amazing artifacts. And I would love to see her get all the aDNA stuff done on her skeleton, because the Ptolemies were inbred to shit. And and also it would, like, again, would answer a lot of questions that we have about the identity of her mother, and like her family history, and I would just like to know how inbred she was. Potentially it would allow us to know her cause of death. Probably not, but that would be interesting, you know. And you could maybe find Mark Antony there as well. So
no, he died later, right?
No, but they died separately, but they were buried together, allegedly.
Oh, okay. Well, allegedly is a big.
Well, it's very difficult. I've delved into this a few times before, but they died separately, but there's there's no records directly from the time in which they died that are like that say exactly what happened to them, and all of the later ones kind of like they conflict on the details. Some of them say that they were both mummified. Some of them say that he was cremated in the Roman tradition, and she was mummified, and they were buried separately together. So there's no consensus.
So in the chat, I think Khufu's winning, but I don't have time to count it because we have
should have done a poll.
But it's close. It's close though. I think Khufu's winning by a little bit. For me, I would actually go with a different person who was buried in Egypt, Alexander the Great, because he took his body, and that would be kind of cool. So I'm just going out of left field, but remember, I focus on the Greek world, so you know.
Yeah, no, I did that in one of my videos that like absolutely popped off at the end of the year, which is like discoveries we haven't made yet. And it was not just Alexander's tomb, but also all the tombs of the Ptolemies, because apparently they had it in this big like cemetery theme park. Yeah. It was like his tomb in the middle, and then all the Ptolemies with all of their treasures were all around it. So if you find one, you find the rest.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah, but if you went down London today and asked 100 people, have you heard of Khufu or Cleopatra?
Cleopatra, of course, but
she'd be more famous. So,
I know, but
so why would you position the discovery of Khufu's tomb above Cleopatra? Because I would say that globally,
because you will never discover the tomb of Cleopatra.
Why?
It's under the water.
How do you know?
Because we searched in a temple for the tomb of Cleopatra for the last 20.
Kathleen Martinez was going to find it.
He brings her up here.
It was Kathleen Martinez from the Dominican Republic, and we found nothing. And even diving now with Bill Billard, who found Titanic. But we know that Cleopatra built a palace. Near the palace, there is a tomb. And she was buried in this tomb that's located under the water now.
So it'll never be discovered?
It'll never be discovered.
Even on the river, on the seabed?
And this is why I say...
Is it a river or sea? Or
the Mediterranean.
So the sea?
The sea.
So is it not possible that it could be discovered?
Many people took the pillars and blocks from the palace, but nothing discovered.
But even if they found that, you would say that Khufu's tomb would be a bigger discovery?
There are 3 discoveries, could be the biggest that I'm waiting.
Go on.
One, the tomb of Queen Nefertiti in the Valley of the Kings.
Yeah.
Which we had a vote in the chat for Nefertiti.
Two, the tomb of Imhotep, the first architect who built the first pyramid of...
Which I've heard him discuss. He thinks he can find Imhotep before he dies, is his hope. I don't know why. It's his
I don't know if I agree entirely with the controversial take, the idea that he was an architect.
Yeah. Well, at least later on, he was considered to be an architect.
Later on was considered to be an architect. Was he actually the evidence? If you read into it, the evidence that people base the entire theory on is a bit like, it's like the have you heard of Hemiunu?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
He's
So
supposed to be the architect for the Great Pyramid.
Yeah, but when you actually read he's called like the overseer of the king's construction projects. To me, as somebody who used to work in commercial archaeology in the construction sector, that says the king's project manager, not the king's architect.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And there's debates even in the book The Red Sea Scrolls by Mark Lehner. They're discussing, who are they discussing as the possible architect? I'm blanking right now.
I don't know.
I've had one too many beers, which means I've had one beer. No, I'm just joking.
But the Cleopatra's tomb, I agree with him in that. I think, well, I don't, it's probably, yes, part of it is probably underwater because of climate change and the receding shoreline.
Which
But
also
actually,
Alexander's.
yeah.
And probably all those Ptolemy graves.
Yeah, like the water table at Alexandria is really not in our favor. But when I was researching Cleopatra's tomb, out of the 3 places that it's supposed to be, I think it's partially the reason why we've never been able to properly excavate it is because the current promontory that they think that's one of the candidates is a military base. So you're never going to get access.
Look, if we had world peace, then there'd be no more military bases, and we can do full-on archaeology where we need to do archaeology.
There's
so
it's like
end
a
all war,
outpost.
World peace. That's what we need.
And number 3, the burial chamber of Khufu inside the Great Pyramid. This will be the most fascinating, important discovery on Earth.
Amazing. And is this why also that you want the bust of Nefertiti back from Berlin?
I want the bust of Nefertiti back because it was stolen.
Right.
It was taken out of Egypt by a German thief. His name is Burkhardt. It should come back. And we are fighting for it to come back. And now when the 2 petitions reach 1 million, I will start the fight.
When it comes to people who have like alternative views about the pyramids, right? There's lots of people obsessed with
this is a segue.
And they have strong opinions, strong views, and some of them don't like you and think you're a gatekeeper, hiding everything away from them and so on. What do you feel about them collectively?
You know, I won't tell you. I used to get upset in the past. But now I really laugh. Why? Because I tell everyone, if you bring one evidence of anything you say, we can talk. But you don't tell me any evidence. You just say speculation. You say things. But on the other hand, I can tell you the evidence that they have. And this is why...
Look, before I bring some of them in, are there big secrets that you know about the Egyptian pyramids that for whatever reason you haven't shared with the world?
Never.
So you've revealed everything you know?
Last night, I talked about everything I found inside the Great Pyramid in front of 1,000 English people. How can you hide anything?
There's nothing you're keeping back?
No, nothing. And it will never happen. Anything that we discover, we announce it.
Because Donald Trump has said that he can't reveal all the files about UFOs and aliens because the world isn't ready to hear them.
But aliens can build something else, but not the pyramids.
Probably true. Okay, well, look, as mentioned.
All right, so that's the end of the Zahi only segment. 1 second. I guess my stupid thing crashed again. Why is that happening? So I got to reshare my screen. I was going to share really quickly the Google Scholar of Zahi just to show that, like, people say he hides stuff. And it's like, we could just keep scrolling and scrolling through all like 10 pages of his publications. It's just absurd. It goes on and on. He is on so many hundreds of articles that to claim that he's hiding stuff is just kind of weird. He's out there bragging about stuff he hasn't even found yet, like the burial chamber of Khufu. He wants to present anything he finds that will make him more famous. Like, that is what he does. So
that's kind of his shtick.
Yeah, exactly. That is
literally what he's known for.
Is to make his stuff sound even grander than it is.
Yeah. Like that 100%. Did you ever watch Chasing Mummies?
No.
Do you know what it is?
No.
It's when they tried to make archaeology into a reality TV show. It is trash.
Oh, geez. Is that where somebody like pissed themselves in the pyramids or something? Yes, I heard about that.
But that was, okay, in her defense, that was, I think, entirely, one of those like reality engineered situations. And because like, they didn't potentially warn her before she went in. So like I very much doubt that they gave her a toilet break and they tried to storm it. Because I actually once in Canada worked on a site with one of the people that was one of the post grads that was featured in the show, and he was like, yeah, it was ridiculous. Like they made him look like he was an absolute idiot, and he wasn't. But the thing about Chasing Mummies that always got me is that it was basically Zahi Hawass with these graduates, post grads that he was taking around to Egypt, and he was overseeing all the sites and everything. But at the end of every episode, they had a little, like, a credit scene that was like all the things that Zahi Hawass found on the show, and then just this giant list of everything that was like in the TV show, as if he had actually found it. I always found that quite entertaining.
Exactly. That is how it is. He wants to get credit for as much stuff as possible.
Oh, and somebody saying you want reality. Have you again, another side note, what was it? Have you read Excavations by Kate? I can't remember her last name off the back of my hand. I have her book somewhere in the house, but she was she did like some classes. I don't think it was a degree, but she did some archaeology work as an undergrad and went on an excavation in Greece. And now she's written like a fiction novel about it that's been picked up by Amy Poehler. And
I have seen that.
Yes.
Yeah, that
so they're making
yeah.
like an office, like The Dig. I'm so excited to watch that.
Yes, I think that'll be good. I think we'll have to cover that in a live stream at some point.
Oh, I interviewed her. I have the author's email. So like, I wish that I was in TV consulting, because I would have just been like, do you need some real archaeological and authenticity? I can advise you on how to have drunken parties and insert penis stones into official record pictures for jokes.
All right, let's move on to the fireworks, everybody. Get excited. Now we're going to see the three experts grilling Dr. Zahi Hawass. So here we go.
Okay, well, look, as mentioned, the world of archaeology is one that invites a lot of people who have alternative theories about the ancient past. And for those who hold
no,
these
we
views,
don't. They're not
Zahi is a
invited.
controversial figure. So we've invited three of them to join
They are
us. So
crashing
we can
the
debate
party.
Some hot topics in this world of Egyptology. Michael Button is a YouTuber specializing in ancient mysteries. Jimmy Corsetti is an investigative researcher and host of Bright Insight. And Timothy Alberino is an author and explorer known as the Rogue Archaeologist. So a great lineup here of alternative Egyptologists.
Question.
Describe you.
Answer.
Is he actually an archaeologist?
He'll answer that later for you.
Okay.
That's some we got to leave some suspense. For later.
Okay.
About who Timothy Alberino is and whether he's actually an archaeologist or just a rogue. We'll see.
You all. So let me start, if I may, with you, Michael Button. I've got the great man here. What do you want to ask him?
Which, by the way, Michael Button looks so silly here. He looks like a I don't know. He has blush on his cheeks.
He looks like he's doing his first TV appearance.
He really does. Oh my God, Michael Button, you are pathetic. For those that do not realize, Michael Button is 100% a fake person. I mean, he's a real person, but he's a fake archaeologist.
AI? Is he AI?
No. He is a major liar and grifter, even though he acts all polite. Okay, just like to be really clear to everybody, Michael Button just speaks out of his ass. There'll be some videos on him, not by me, but in the near future.
I've never even.
He has a huge number of subscribers. Joe Rogan made him famous. There's a huge story behind him, but he's a very polite, clean-cut fake archaeologist who just lies about archaeology repeatedly, as you'll see from this interview in a second.
Ask you.
Well, firstly, thanks for having me on, Piers. And Zahi, it's a pleasure to meet you and to make your acquaintance. Look, Zahi, you just said that no one has come with any evidence whatsoever that can possibly say there's anything new to be found at the Giza Plateau or beneath the pyramids. But the simple fact is that in the last few years, the only major news stories that have come from the Giza Plateau and the pyramids is firstly the story of the vast subterranean city beneath the Giza Plateau, and secondly, the recent story regarding the second Sphinx. Now, look, nobody here is saying, I don't think anyone on this panel would say that we have absolute proof of a vast subterranean city or of a second Sphinx.
So really quickly, when he says that this is the only news out of Giza, what he means is in the Daily Mail. Okay?
Yeah,
he does not mean anywhere else. This is fucking bullshit.
Where do you get your news from?
He's a pseudo-archaeologist.
Not to mention,
he probably gets it from the Daily Mail.
The fact that he's completely ignoring the Scan Pyramids project, which we
Yeah.
literally just talked about. That
And
would
was in the
argue-
news. And it's still in the news.
Scan Pyramids project, the people who've charted the course of the Nile and done like the reconstruction of the ancient waterways, that was a huge story as well. Mark Leonard's town that he keeps finding more and more stuff at, like plenty of news stories are still coming out of Giza, just saying.
But like I said, this guy, like the rest of them, is not an
city.
expert. He found apparently there's a vast city 2
You
kilometers
know what?
under the pyramids.
He's been playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. That's how I know,
seriously.
because I have been playing it on stream on my channel. Plug, you can watch me play badly, and mostly it involves shanking Nazis with a trowel. So
Which,
it's
by
hilarious.
the way, you were telling me you were going to do tonight until we decided to do this together tonight.
Yeah, no, tonight I was going to play video games without an audience, but
okay.
But tomorrow I will be playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. We've just arrived to the Himalayas level and finished at Giza. But yeah, the first bit, you're in Venice and you're basically bottling fascists, Mussolini's fascists, and then you're in Giza and you get to use dig tools to like
beat the shit out of Nazis.
beat the shit out of Nazis. It's hilarious.
I wanted to stream myself playing that game, but I couldn't get my computer to do well with it, so I just gave up and played it myself, and it's a good game.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. All right, let's hear Michael Button talk about the fucking stupid city under the pyramids.
But this idea
doesn't
that
exist.
people can come with legitimate scientific data and bring it to the table, like the scientists who brought this data are credentialed scientists. They have been cited in scientific journals, and their technology.
Let's be really clear. One of these scientists has a PhD in chemistry, but what he does for his real job is he hypnotizes people that claim they were abducted by aliens. That is what Corrado Malanga is famous for in Italy. So when he says the real credentialed scientists, keep that with a heavy grain of salt.
Well,
yes, they have PhDs, but they're crackpots.
Filippo Biondi, he has a PhD, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Yes.
Yeah, and he's really the crux of this whole argument, because he is like an expert in those kinds of systems. However, it's the SAR scan stuff. However, he's not currently affiliated with the university, which I find interesting. I actually have to look up, because it has been a year since I looked at it last, but his patent application for his technology hasn't been approved, as far as I'm aware.
This is me that figured this all out. You got to watch my video on this. So,
we figured this out independently. Yeah.
Okay, his patent application was approved. He let it expire. But he claims that he still has it. He keeps talking about it. And then since I started calling him out on this, Joe Rogan, and because Joe Rogan follows me on Twitter and stuff like that, so he saw me tweeting about this, and then Jesse Michaels have repeatedly asked him about his patent application. He said, "Oh, my bad. I let it expire, even though I think this is such an extremely valuable tool for oil prospection and stuff like that." And then to each of them, he said a month's difference. He said, "Oh, I just applied yesterday for a new patent." He said that in December to Joe Rogan, and then in March to Jesse Michaels. Yeah. And so he's just making this stuff up.
I mean, we were talking about this before the stream started. Zahi's website that makes me cringe, because it's like from the early 2000s, but Filippo Biondi's website for his SAR scans equally makes me hurt inside when I go to look at it, and that it's just painfully bad. But
in fact, this is his website, where it's still up right now. He claims he has a patent. If you look up the patent in the databases, it is expired. It is absolutely expired. He keeps claiming that he has a patent. He keeps claiming he's applying. He has no patent, and he keeps lying about it because he's a liar.
The other thing, did you read through the peer reviews of the Giza of the Khufu paper?
I interviewed the peer reviewer. I had Larry Conyers on. So if you watch my great debunk of Filippo Biondi, I talk with Sarah Parkak about this technology. I talk with Larry Conyers about this technology, and Larry Conyers was one of the peer reviewers. And so I've delved into this. I have like several videos on this, and I have a new one coming next month on the second Sphinx, right before he makes the big announcement about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah,
No, I mean, like Filippo Biondi, like my husband's an engineer, so I had asked him a bit about this stuff as well when it first came out, and he was just like, "This is garbage."
It's bullshit. And by the way, if anybody who knows Filippo Biondi is listening, I will gladly debate that motherfucker. 100%. I will wipe his ass in a debate because he is so full of shit, and I have the receipts to demonstrate he is full of shit.
Oh,
so,
not to mention the fact that he keeps changing what he thinks the pyramids are for.
Yeah. He also
Like,
keeps changing what's underneath them.
Yeah.
Like
Well, that's what yeah.
He also keeps changing. This is now revealing part of my new video that I'm making.
Oh,
but
sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Teaser.
Most people who are watching this are, well, let's say more people usually watch my recorded videos than my live streams. So for those few people that are watching now, you'll get a hint of this. Filippo Biondi in one place or several places claims that his scanning technology gets millimeter precision. But when he's called out on things that he misses, he says, actually, the resolution's only like 20 meters per pixel.
Oh, the other thing is that that I picked up on, I can't remember, is that so the whole thing is about X-raying rocks, essentially. Let's just break it down. That's what they're trying to do. But he talks about in his abstract of the Great Pyramid paper, how I think I'd have to look it up, but he basically tries to say that the entire thing is made out of granite in the very beginning of his paper. And it's like 1% of the Great Pyramid is made out of granite. If you don't even know the right material that you're trying to see through, how can you trust what you're looking at?
You can't trust anything he says. He just lies repeatedly. And he made a tweet recently that he has 105% confidence in his identification of the second Sphinx, is how he put it. So talk about a scientist there. He has 105% confidence. Like, the dude is just a grifter, as the latest comment
Hasn't
says.
somebody pointed out that it's just a spoil heap? Which I would love.
People have pointed that out. In fact, to his face, I think somebody pointed it out.
It's literally where we dump all the dirt from the excavations, and he thinks it's a Sphinx. I can't.
Oh God, it's
so
terrible.
stupid.
But Michael Button believes in this, so we know that Michael Button, who has a BA from Birmingham, knows his shit.
Worked in other archaeological sites across the world. So the idea that actual scientists can come with actual data and bring it to the authorities and just be immediately dismissed without any kind of discussion, I think
I love Zahi's face here, by the way. His face when some of these
just
people are talking to him is just like so hilarious.
He's also just like, who are you?
Because look, I mean, I actually have a quote from you, Zahi, that you said on the day after the team came with the SAR topography results beneath the pyramids. And you said the claim of using radar inside the pyramid is false.
Wait 1 second. Just look at the blush on his cheeks. Michael Button, you look like you're 8 years old, man.
He's got a really good filter going on, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And the techniques employed are neither scientifically approved nor validated. But this was literally the day after the results had come out. And I don't see any way that you could have gone through the data and spoke to the team or conducted any independent investigation to come to that conclusion. And if you just look all across the world right now, modern technology is revolutionizing archaeology. Just look at the Amazon rainforest, where LiDAR has discovered vast cities hidden beneath the canopy, vast geometric earthworks that nobody knew existed.
Can I just make a point?
Yeah, please.
The people making those discoveries are archaeologists.
Yeah, and guess what? LiDAR is a proven technology that we know that works. SAR, synthetic aperture radar, we know works, but it only can
not in this
a few
application.
meters below the surface.
Yeah.
Every single indication we have shows that this new technology, which is unpublished, does not work.
It's not even, it's a software program.
Yeah. And
Like,
in fact, he's so confident in it that he let his patent expire.
Yeah. So confident. It's a software. And it's a software that they then fed into an LLM, which they've never named. And they seem to completely misunderstand the fact that LLMs are entirely built by human knowledge and are essentially, a lot of the times, turn out to be an echo chamber. They're only going to feed you what you want to hear.
And then they make these lovely AI graphics that look like power generators. Here's my hot take, guys. The pyramid is a mattress.
Underneath the pyramid is the world's first mattress.
Khufu,
That's what it looks like
stop
to me.
going boingy boingy on the mattress, Khufu? Come on.
Anyway.
All right, let's hear Zahi's response.
A few years ago. That was always the classic lost civilization hypothesis.
Let me give him a chance to respond. And just for viewers who may not have understood, just one second, sorry, because I just want to point out that in relation to the Sphinx comment you made, that last month Italian researchers claimed they might have found signs of a Sphinx located beneath the pyramids of Giza, suggesting the existence of a sprawling subterranean citadel. The radar engineer Filippo Blondi said there is something very huge that we're measuring beneath the Giza
Hey,
plateau.
Blondie,
On his own podcast,
you got blush
Michael
on your
Bunn,
cheeks.
You said if this is true, it could change everything we know about ancient Egypt. So, Dr. Zahi, your response to that story, and also to the wider point that Michael makes, which is all this stuff's being discovered all the time. How are you so certain that this isn't lurking beneath the pyramids?
Yes. Now there are 3 points I would like to discuss. Number one, about the discovery that was claimed by the 2 Italians underneath the second pyramid of Khafre. They said 60 meters underneath the second pyramid, there is 8 pillars. And 1,000 meters, there is a whole city. Now, those scientists, before they should announce this, they should come to discuss it with us, to sit with Egyptologists and discuss it. If it's true, we'll announce it. We cannot deny anything like this. But what I said, they published that they used tomographic radar. And tomographic radar can show only 15 meters under the ground, only. The second thing about the Sphinx, this theory is published recently, but it is published 20 years ago again. And they said south of the recent Sphinx, there is another one. And this area, I want you to come, I will take you. This has been excavated completely to the solid rock. There is no one single place in this area can accommodate a second Sphinx. And now the question is, why do we have a second Sphinx? There is no reason to do that. The third point for you, we welcome anyone who comes from a university or a museum, a scientist. Someone should be connected with a scientific institution. Welcome to come and do any research. We have the permanent committee that permit people to work, but you have to be connected with an institution.
Okay, Michael,
So I got a few things, and then we should discuss our top reason why we think that this stuff is bullshit. But one, I actually find Zahi kind of interesting because he's worked with people that don't have institutional affiliations.
Yeah.
So I find that to be a little disingenuous. You actually don't need an institutional affiliation to do research at Giza. But I mean, as somebody says, let's drill straight through the pyramids, no problem. That's the issue. You can't just do this without any solid evidence, because if you're going to turn the Giza, which is a very sensitive archaeological site, into something where you're drilling kilometers under the ground, you're basically turning it into like an oil field, which is going to
collapse.
So you need to know what you're
Sinkholes.
doing. So what's your archaeological reason why there's no like city or 2 mega structures underneath the pyramids?
Because it would have collapsed by now.
That's
Structurally,
a really good one.
it doesn't make sense.
That's a really good one.
Like, it just physically, it just doesn't make sense that that would be there. And okay, I know that we'll talk about this later, but the Osiris shaft is full of water. These like the water table would exist for these places. Not to mention how far down that they're saying that is 1,000 kilometers?
No, it's 1,000 meters. So it's
1,000
between
meters,
1 and 2
a kilometer.
kilometers. He shifts what he does all the time. They started off saying it was 2 kilometers down. Now they say it's like 1 kilometer down. They just keep changing their answers.
So structurally, the weight of the Great Pyramid, the reason why we're not digging under it, guys, is because it's a health and safety hazard.
OSHA's gonna have some problems there.
Health and OSHA does that exist in Egypt? I don't know. I
making
see
a
people
sarcastic
walking
joke.
around on excavations in sandals there, so
They shouldn't be. That's not good.
wouldn't get away with that in the UK. But yeah, I think it just boils down to there's no evidence. There's absolutely no credible evidence outside of these people whose research, whose technology has not been independently verified. It hasn't been archaeologically tested anywhere else. There is no actual physical evidence for these things to happen. And in order for you to expect us to believe that and to further pursue that, you really need to come. I said this, I think, in my first thing about it, is again, Giza is arguably the most famous, one of the most excavated sites in the world, you can't just rock up there and be like, let me dig some holes in the ground. Like, you need to come with your receipts. And they don't have them. So they can't expect to just be able to waltz in and do whatever they want. I don't know.
No, I'm with you. I completely agree. And my argument is very similar. I basically think we can actually demonstrably prove that these scans are false using what we are. Oh, no. God damn it. All right. One second.
It's okay.
No.
Kitty, I'll distract with the cat. She's back. Emma,
What did
do
I
a dance.
do? I broke everything. Oh, well. I'll have to fix it after this. Is we know the hydrogeology of Giza, which means we know that this is just pure bedrock right here. That's why you said structurally it would collapse. And we've actually provenanced all this bedrock with geochemical methods to trace where different stones come from. And then, as you mentioned, it would be underwater. We've done a bunch of hydrological survey of the area. And guess what? As you said, the Osiris shaft is full of water, because the water table is actually not that deep below the bedrock or the surface. And so we know, we've done all the studies to, not me, but we as archaeologists have done all the studies to show the Khufu branch coming in and the kind of water there. And this is just such an old sort of narrative. So yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit. Water and rock disproves it.
I was reading the stuff about the Osiris.
The world of archaeology
shaft.
is one that invites a lot of people who have alternative theories about the ancient past. And for those who hold these views, Dr. Zahi is a controversial figure. So we've invited 3 of them to join us so they can debate.
Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, in one of the things I was reading to prepare for this, they were talking about like the guides swimming in the shafts.
Yeah.
When they're submerged and stuff like that, which I think is probably, I will bet money, not that you could ever prove this, but that is where a lot of these underground city stories come from, is that people swimming in submerged burial shafts.
Yeah. No, I agree.
that where the water table's risen and they've been like, ooh, this looks fun. And they go for an underwater swim. You can't see much down there.
Which is actually how the Osiris shaft was found, is workers of Hassan Salim, who was the first great Egyptian Egyptologist working at Giza. His workers were digging there or swimming there after work, which is how they found the Osiris shaft.
And using it for their shower water.
Yeah. All right. Guys, my painting is not crooked. It's my camera that's a little crooked, but I tried fixing it earlier and I failed. So if you're OCD, I'm sorry that it looking a little crooked.
Welcome to come and do any research. We have the permanent committee that permit people to work, but you have to be connected with an institution.
Okay, Michael, just for the record, have you been to the pyramids?
I've not been to the pyramids, and I'm hoping to. And I just want to state that I do not necessarily agree with the findings of these scientists. My broader point is that the data that they presented was just immediately rejected without any kind of proper investigation, without any kind of digging into the Giza plateau. Like, why have we not just dug down? Then we could settle this argument once and for all. Because it seems that we're all here discussing this, and I haven't even been to Egypt, and we could just settle this straight away by digging into the Giza plateau.
Okay,
where?
What's the response?
This is true.
Why can't we just dig down and find out?
Because you'd have to drill down a kilometer.
Because you'd have to drill down a kilometer. Where are you? This is the thing with I think Jimmy Corsetti said this in the other one. Like, if these guys came to us with a plan, like, this just goes to show that they don't know anything to do with archaeology and how it's actually done. Because Michael Button, I looked it up, he has a BA in ancient history. He doesn't even have a BA in archaeology, which is a small but important point in terms of statements like this. Where exactly are we supposed to dig down to find this city, like on the map? How are you going to identify exactly where it is that you should be drilling down this hole to find something? And then if there's not something under beneath it, what's to keep you from being like, well, guess we got to check somewhere else, and then just turning the whole thing into a flipping colander? Like,
no, it's just the stupidest thing ever. You don't just go drilling holes on an archaeological site down a kilometer without really good reason.
Yeah,
which they don't have.
And yeah, like, and well, my software technology that I entirely made myself and haven't independently verified says that it's there. That's not a good enough
I
reason.
haven't published how this works. I don't have a patent in it because I let it expire.
Yeah,
and it makes it look like it's there.
Well, in contrast, the Scam Pyramids project, which they are going to be doing stuff to investigate what they have found. The thing that made that credible is that 3 different independent teams using 3, I think it's variations. They didn't use exactly the same, but 3 different variations of the technology all came to the same conclusion.
Yeah.
They weren't related. It was 3
Exactly.
independent projects, and they all found something that was similar, and they got together and they were like, oh, this probably means something is there. The only people that have come forward with this is the Filippo Biondi guy, and he's never tested it outside of like in an archaeological setting that has been able to prove it.
Claims he's tested it elsewhere, but he actually hasn't.
Well,
the thing is,
publish
he's
it
not
then.
published any of this, and this is what people say. They say he's done this because he goes on podcasts and says he's tested it elsewhere, and then he has some fancy image on his website that doesn't even line up with what he claims he's mapping of the Gran Sasso Laboratory in Italy. It's a bunch. I saw a good comment in the chat. It's low information people conning other low information people, which is what this is. It's all just a fucking con. Which, by the way, I mentioned I'd be willing to debate Filippo Biondi. If Paul Connolly or someone else from Piers Morgan is actually watching this, I will never fucking debate Jimmy Corsetti. We'll go into why later on. But I am happy to debate Michael Button. If you want to have me on to debate Michael Button, I will wipe that guy's...
We wipe the floor with him.
Wipe the floor with him. That's what it is. Yeah. All right. Let's finish up Michael Button's turn. Let's get on to Corsetti.
I know, it's the solid rock. The second pyramid, the base is 10 meters of solid rock. How can you look what's underneath a solid rock?
But in relation earlier to this, this hidden corridor and sealed door stuff, you said there's now technology that means you don't need to drill.
That's completely different.
So is there not technology?
But you cannot go through 10 meters.
You can't?
No, you can't. But tell me, if any scientist can look underneath, welcome.
So you have no problem with people...
At all. I have no problem at all on that.
Okay.
Giza Plateau is open to any scientists who really can do any investigation.
Okay, let me bring in Jim.
Okay, we have finished with Michael Button.
Also, somebody made a good point in the chat of who's going to pay to do this.
Yeah, who is going to pay to this? Filippo Biondi, obviously.
Well, they all probably make absolute bank off of all of their conspiracy cons that they do. So,
yeah. Sorry, I'm just doing some tech stuff before we start the next one because every time I crash, my screen share breaks. Okay, let's go on to Jimmy Corsetti.
Okay, let me bring in Jimmy Corsetti. Welcome to you, Jimmy. You're an investigative researcher. After our last conversation,
you mean a liar?
Zahi, there were lots of comments that kind of flooded in here. Mosh Jelton said there are gatekeepers at the top of every industry that will keep anybody they can below them under any circumstance. Ali El Said says, an Egyptian, I reject Zahi as a spokesperson for our history. The pyramids construction remains a mystery. Doug Lynch, I love how traditional Egyptian scientists are firmly convinced the Egyptians built the pyramids, and yet not a single one can tell us how they did it. And Kay Maram said, after years of research and excavation, Zahi Hawass discovered the pyramids were built in his honor, which made me chuckle. But you've got the great man sitting here. I think he is a great man. Certainly by his own admission, one of the 2 great experts of this in the world. I have to say that having finally come face to face with this monster, as some people in the alternative world view him, I see a guy who's not only incredibly expert in the pyramids, has written a 1,000-page book about it, was modest enough to say there's another guy out there, an American, who is as expert as he is.
That modest?
But also is so palpably...
Modest is not a word that comes to mind when I think of Zahi Hawass. All respect to him.
In fact, I don't think any of the 5 people on that screen I would think of as modest.
No.
Be excited by the idea of new discovery and detail what that could be. This new tomb that could be uncovered. That isn't the kind of reaction, if I'm honest, Jimmy, of somebody that I get the feeling is trying to hide things. So.
Which I do agree with Piers on this. Zahi does not strike me as someone who's trying to hide things. That's for sure.
Is the alternative community so fixated on the fact that this guy is some kind of controlling gatekeeper monster who doesn't want anyone to know anything?
Well, let me first say, Piers, nice to see you again. Thank you for having me on. And actually, we had all done a podcast.
Yeah, Jimmy, when you last did that podcast, you accused Zahi Hawass of lying and stuff like this, and Piers is trying to get you to follow up on it.
For an interview together last July where I got to meet Zahi and chat with him here. And nice to see you again, Zahi. And I want to apologize to you. I interrupted you a few times last July.
Here, I have that clip. Do people want to see the interruptions really quickly from the previous one?
We have the Wadi al-Jarf papyri. Do you know anything about this papyri? The
I do not.
papyri is talking
I'm sure they
about
do, I
an
don't.
overseer of a workman who went to Torah to cut the white fine limestone for the casing of the pyramid. And he talked about
Right,
his
small
boss.
stones.
His name is
Those
Didi.
stones are
that
like
we
4 to
found
6
his
tons
tomb.
at the most.
You have in the Middle Kingdom.
Right. And by the way, when it comes to that
So,
papyrus you keep
moving
talking
and
about,
open-
it says
please
absolutely,
let
the
me-
word
I
pyramid
gave
is
you-
not mentioned
I
one
gave
single
you
time.
to answer. You did not. I gave you the time to talk. Give me the time to answer you, please.
You never said yes or
I'm
no, though,
saying-
to that prior question about exploring
can't
that
hear
pyramid.
you.
You didn't say yes or no. You said there's no secrets, but yes or no, have you been in there?
I told you we are.
All I can say
let me
is
bring
Jimmy
in, Jimmy Corsetti.
Jimmy Corsetti is the biggest asshole in the fake archaeology space. As Professor Dave called him, he is human garbage, and he really is. We'll get into exactly why later at the end of this when we go into the lies that he just made about Zahi today, just about a couple hours ago, because he is the worst person I have ever engaged with in my entire life. He was a terrible person. All right, let's.
I am lucky in that I've never had to.
Oh God, you're gonna be like, what the hell when I show you some of the stuff he's done.
Okay.
You're gonna be like, yeah.
Okay.
Everybody will be if you're still gonna be around.
Chat with them here. And nice to see you again, Zahi. And I want to apologize to you. I interrupted you a few times
Thank you.
July. I meant no disrespect to you.
Yes, you did.
And I certainly do not think that you're a monster, Zahi, whatsoever. In fact, I think that you're a good.
Jimmy Corsetti, I think you are a monster. By the way, just because I'm bringing this up, let's be really clear about what Jimmy Corsetti is like.
Well, I think something's crashed again. Okay. There we go.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Thing. Software always is lovely when you need it to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
1 second. What is going on? No. Stop.
Oh, the cat just almost made another cam meow, as I like to call them.
From and myself
Wait,
as
my
a conspiracy
software
theorist.
is glitching. 1 second. Come on.
Okay, let me bring in Jimmy Corsetti. Welcome to you, Jimmy. You're an investigative researcher. And
it's working, I think. No, it's not. Why is this not working? Sorry, one quick.
Do you want to play the Piers Morgan stuff and then you can figure it out while it plays?
To even do that. It's
okay.
Oh wait, there it goes.
Conversation.
Wait, let
with
me
Zahi.
try.
There were
I have an
lots
idea.
of
1 second.
Comments.
Hey guys, just me for a second. You like my background? It's me at the pyramids like 10 years ago or more. We're not going to talk about how much more. But I hope you like my background.
I like your background. All right, I am back, right? Am I back?
I think so. I can see you. I can hear you.
My entire software, I can't click on anything. Like I can't click on a thing.
Oh no.
Hold on. 1 second. Let me see. I just completely restarted my internet browser and everything. This software is breaking on me. Sorry, everybody. Give me like 1 minute to see if I can figure this out.
Finally, Zahi,
Okay.
I had Graham Hancock.
There we
on
go.
Okay, let me bring in Jimmy Corsetti. Welcome.
Okay.
I don't have a MAGA hat. I think it says, it says Chuck's Angels. My dad's name is Chuck.
Okay, I got it working again. Media. Sorry, everybody. I apologize for the issue.
That's okay. My hat very much predates MAGA, and I actually don't even know if I have it anymore.
So this is some of what Jimmy Corsetti has done to me so that people see this. He has accused me of faking my cancer. He claimed that I faked my cancer in order to get out of debating Graham Hancock, which I obviously debated Graham Hancock, and I did not fake my fucking cancer. He has accused me of lying repeatedly about him. For example, saying that I claimed on a podcast with New Scientist that he had said that the Göbekli Tepe excavations were shut down, and he said that he never claim that. So here's 2 tweets where he specifically says that excavations at Göbekli Tepe are at a standstill and that there are no excavations going on at Göbekli Tepe. Jimmy Corsetti is a liar. He's told his fans to call up Cardiff University to get me fired, putting the email and the phone number of Cardiff University in a tweet to try to get me fired. He has put my name in triple parentheses to label me as a Jew because I have Jewish ancestry. And he has done this and sicked Nazis.
Why is that? Is that supposed to be an insult?
To him, yes, because
okay.
he has videos on why swastikas are a sign of a lost civilization, and he has a lot of fans that are anti-Semites, and he goes and alerts them that I have Jewish ancestry on one side of my family. I'm not a practicing Jewish person or anything like that, and I'm very proud of my Jewish ancestry. But at the same time, he has sicked these people on. He has cheered when Cardiff University was laying off jobs and getting rid of ancient history as a department and getting rid of archaeologists. He's cheered this and claiming that he cannot wait for me to get fired, for example, and thinks that I deserve that. He has, for example, told his fans to put on blast the entire board of the Society for American Archaeology. And when asked, what does that mean? He said that you should call out their internet behavior online. You should leave these fellows their books on Amazon, appropriate reviews, and he should leave on Rate My Professors appropriate reviews. And this happened to Dr. Bill Farley, where a bunch of Jimmy Corsetti fans went and left fake reviews on his Rate My Professor website. So when I say Jimmy Corsetti is an absolute terrible garbage trash individual, I mean it. Sunafred, you say, how is the triple parentheses Jewish related? Just Google triple parentheses. Like, just go and Google it.
In an incognito window. Don't taint your algorithm.
No, you can just Google it. It's fine.
But yeah.
It's if you just Google it, it is right here. I'll show you. Echoes. People are putting brackets around their Twitter handles in an attempt to subvert a far-right attempt to identify and harass Jews online. This is a well-known thing. When you see triple parentheses around somebody's name, it is a sign that they are being referred to as Jewish. So, I don't know what else.
One of those like things to try and avoid quote unquote censorship, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's stupid.
So when I say that Jimmy Corsetti is human garbage, which Professor Dave coined, I mean it. I despise that guy because he has sicked thousands of his Nazi trolls on me, and he has done nothing but try to make my life and other archaeologists' life miserable.
More difficult, yeah.
And I will bring up some of this again when we get into what he's accused Zahi of doing. So let's go.
Okay, let me bring in Jimmy Corsetti. Welcome here. We discussed a monster who doesn't want anyone to...
No disrespect to you. And I certainly do not think that you're a monster, Zahi, whatsoever. In fact, I think that you're a good man. And I think that most of this spreads from, and myself as a conspiracy theorist, but I consider myself more level-headed.
I like how he admits he's a conspiracy theorist. At least he's honest about one fucking thing.
Well, I do not think that the pyramids were built by aliens. I think
Do you believe they were built by humans, just for the record?
Yes, I do. I think that humans, if we were to get a time machine and go back and snatch some people up from, say, the 18th century and bring them today and fly them over New York City or London, they might think they're on a different planet. I think that what human beings are capable of is, the sky's the limit. There's anything that we can conceive of we can do. So no, I do believe it was humans. However, I think that they were far more advanced than what we were taught in school. The ascribed techniques for how the pyramids were allegedly constructed have been tested and debunked. I do not believe they were constructed with copper chisels and stone hammers. There's other mysteries, for example, how they transported 1,000 metric ton statues hundreds of miles. But to answer your question, I think it comes from transparency.
So I don't know why you can't build the pyramids with copper tools and stone tools. To be honest, most of the evidence that has been done by experimental archaeologists like Dennis Stocks show that it's stone chisels that are being used, made of flint, by the way. You okay over there, Rachel?
Yes, I have a reference. Give me a second.
Okay, yeah, we can give you a second. So most of these things are actually not using copper. In fact, Dennis Stocks, who's an engineer and an archaeologist, has done experiments that copper chisels could not actually really effectively carve the hard limestone at Giza. We were talking about the Makati limestone, and copper chisels are not hard enough to do that. So actually, we think that it's stone chisels that are being used, and there's no reason stone chisels could not do that. Flint, for example, not me, though I'm pretty hard too, but the flint stone is much harder than the limestone, and so flint chisels could easily carve limestone blocks at Giza. Oh wait, we have my cat here too.
Oh,
We have a
cat
cat
meows.
competition. Hello, Tavro. My cat is from the site of Knossos on Crete. He's a site cat that we adopted when he was about 5 months old. He just turned 5 years old today. A week ago.
Really good boo booms.
Oh,
My cat is no. I have cat allergies, so I went to a breeder to get a Russian blue because they're supposed to be better for allergies. But yeah, no, okay. So he just mentioned something about sledging and all of that stuff. I'm gonna have to turn off my background. 1 second. Virtual background, none. So that this shows up. Yeah, you get a great view of my really exciting living room. Okay. So literally this right here, it might not be focused. It's
mirrored, which makes it tough, but yeah. Is this Leaner's book?
Yes, this is
Which page is it?
202. But this
Okay.
is the complete pyramids by Mark Lenner, the guy that Zahi is saying is the other expert. And this is it's like a frieze from the pyramid, or sorry, frieze. It's a relief from the causeway of the Pyramid of Unas, which is the 5th dynasty, so very close to the 4th dynasty, and that's them transporting a granite column, palm column, by boat from Aswan, where the granite is from, all the way up to the Nile. So
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
one, and then on the opposite, the next page over, if you go to the next page, that's the very famous colossal statue relief that is Djibouti Hotep, and that's them pulling a colossal statue with a sledge. And that's actually where they got the theory that if you look at the guy standing at the very front of the sledge and he looks like he's pouring something onto the sand, that's where they got that thing that they did an experiment with, that they think they were pouring water onto the sand in front of the sledge. And when they actually tested it in real life, it makes it go faster. It makes it easier to pull.
And another idea is it could be oil, because oil is a common thing they use to increase the lubrication. So the reason to pour water on sand is it makes it a harder surface. So if you imagine you're pulling a sledge, this is the sledge here. If you're pulling a sledge, sand is going to bunch under it and increase friction. And the whole goal is to reduce friction over time. I actually, for those that are interested, I have a book coming out in about 1.5 years on fake archaeology. And I have a whole section on how to move multi-ton statues and things like that using some of this technology. So yeah, that's my plug for my book, which is not on sale yet. So you just have to remember in the future.
But yeah, so like, I mean, when they say, oh, there's not this stuff, I mean, I really hate that they're always like, oh, well, you don't have this exact evidence that they're doing it exactly the same way that we would do it in modern day. Like, yeah. And do you know how hard it is to reverse engineer something that happened 4,000 years ago? Like, I wish I had a time machine to be able to do that.
And like thousands and thousands of labor force, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing you need.
Yeah. And money. I mean, money
to pay
is
them.
kind of the big thing. Like, the irony is that people like Graham Hancock and all of these people that are really big on YouTube are probably making more money than the average archaeologist off of their videos.
I have a nice quote from Zahi Hawass about this that we're going to end this stream on.
Okay.
From my interview with him.
But yeah, like if they have more money than us, why don't they just all get together and start a scholarship? Like,
they'd rather just keep making money.
Yeah.
All right, Jimmy, let's let some sparks fly.
There have been examples where the public has felt that that things weren't done on the up and up. For example, exploring cavities below the Sphinx. Back in 2009, Zahi Hawass and Dr. Lehner had drilled down to explore the water table under the Sphinx's left paw. And they said there was nothing down there. However, photos were never released to the public. I also want to point out that when we had our conversation last July of 2025, Zahi, you had mentioned that the Great Pyramid Void would be explored by the end of the year. And then that came and went and still hasn't happened. Now you're saying that they're going to explore it in June. So just to clarify, Will they be drilling inside? I understand you had mentioned techniques to explore without drilling. Will we be going in some capacity?
Now, first I have to answer the first question that you asked about what we found in front of the Sphinx that's not available to the public. This is not true. We found 4 tunnels under the Sphinx, and it's published in an article, scientific article, secret tunnels under the Sphinx, number 1. Number 2, when I found out the rise of
Now, 1 second, I want to point out that Zahi Hawass very clearly made a lie there. I'm sorry, but that was a lie because the title is not The Secret Tunnels Under the Sphinx. It is an article that is available for free on academia.edu, The Passage Under the Sphinx. This is the article that he's talking about. In here, he describes all the drillings by the Sphinx that they have done and the tunnels that they have explored. There's lovely maps of them. There are descriptions of them. There are photos of them. This is published, and it is freely available online. So when Jimmy Corsetti claims that this is being covered up and not published, he just has not bothered to even Google them. Like, because it's right here on Mark Lehner's academia.edu page. It's co-published with Mark Lehner and Zahi Hawass. It is right here. It is like a 20-page article on this stuff in English language, which I think Jimmy speaks English, right? I mean, not very well, but I think he speaks it to some degree. So yeah, just wanted to make that clear to everybody that Zahi lied about it.
Somebody just mentioned Mr. Beast going in the Sphinx's butthole, literally.
Yeah,
what it was.
I should have gotten a clip of that, but I don't have it available.
The thing I find entertaining about that nobody's mad about is the fact, like, everyone's like mad about, there's a cover up. Nobody's sitting there being like, you let him contaminate the site by putting one of his feastable beast souvenirs just like inside to just like screw up for future archaeologists. Like, okay. I really hope they picked that up after the cameras were turned off.
By the way, I just want to make a point. I put the banner down at the bottom. Make sure to like these videos. Go like Rachel's, go like mine. Give it some likes after we're done. Leave some comments, subscribe, etc. But let's move back to the star of the show, which is Zahi Hawass defending himself against these grifters.
Water table, I brought a team from Cairo University, and we drilled 32 drilling underneath the Sphinx, and we found nothing. The Sphinx is a solid rock. All what I'm telling you now, published in our book to the public. You can buy this book, published by Timson Hudson, and read about what we found underneath the Sphinx.
By the way, I saw this chat. Could it be a mistranslation or misremembering? Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I'm not literally accusing Zahi Hawass of lying. I'm being sarcastic about that. He either misremembered or mistranslated the title of the article. I want to make that clear. I don't think Zahi Hawass is a perfect individual, but I have a lot of respect for him as an archaeologist. So I just want to be clear that I was just joking about him lying. Jimmy Corsetti, however, does think he lied. So we'll go on.
Somebody just said that archaeologists are hiding everything in the internet where it's so hard to find information.
I like you a lot, Kaio Musashi. That is a great point.
I mean, the only reason we're hiding things, if you want to think that we're hiding things, it's because we've not gotten around to publishing them on the internet because we're famously bad at it.
And Zahi keeps bringing up his book, and I agree. It's annoying that stuff is in a book that's not online. But I want to point out these articles are online.
Yeah,
they are, and they're freely available.
I want you to know, archaeology is not really something that you have to go tomorrow and open this. You have to study. I'm working now with a team from England, and we have also a team from France and team from Japan. All of us are really trying to reveal the secret of the Great Pyramid and to announce anything that we found. The team that working with me, until now, they cannot find a way of how can we found what could be inside the 30 meters void, or the other void in the second chamber, or the corridor. Now they're coming in June. We'll try again. Then we will always try with the new techniques that we have now, like ultrasound, infrared, muons. All these new techniques can really reveal all these voids.
And Jimmy, have you been to the pyramids?
Yes, I've been 3 times.
And when you get there,
I actually met recently a student. I'm not going to say which university. I was giving a talk at a university, and she's Egyptian. And she actually ran into Jimmy Corsetti at Giza once. And she was like, she didn't know who he was, but he was kind of the way she described it as being a bit of a jerk. And then she discovered who he was, and she was like, "Oh my God, I wish I knew, because I would have run over him with a camel or something like that." 'Cause,
also, I think it's really interesting, like Piers and Michael are like, "Oh no, I've never been, but I'd love to go." I'm like, then go.
Yeah,
Like, it's not like you
Piers
don't.
Morgan,
It's not like you don't have enough money to go and really enjoy, have a good time on a nice, you don't need lots of money to go to Egypt, and go on a tour. I went when I was a student in university and managed.
Exactly.
There. I mean, do you feel the same frustration that you feel like you're not being told the truth about stuff, or do you accept that the monumental scale of these pyramids is such that it's a very complex thing?
Well, I will say that there are a lot of locked gates in Giza. There's most of Giza you're not even allowed to explore.
Yeah, because they don't want you to destroy it.
Or fall in a hole.
Well, yeah, safety. There's so many places. It's a place literally full of shafts. It's literally full of holes.
Literally full of holes. This is why they keep tourists out of places where they can hurt
don't
themselves.
want people. Yeah, they don't
can get
have.
sued.
Yeah, they don't have a 1984 police state with cameras everywhere. So if they let tourists just explore around unattended, you then have a risk as well of looting or graffiti, vandalism, etc.
I mean, if you go to Pompeii, most of the houses are closed.
Yeah.
If you go to any site in the world, there's all kinds of areas that are off limits for tourists because they don't have the capability to either protect the tourists or protect the site from the tourists at all times.
Yeah.
And so, they keep it restricted. That's just life, because maybe if people wanted to fund archaeology better, there'd be more stuff available for tourists to go to. But until better funding is available for heritage management, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say, though, that as far as, taking time to analyze a potential discovery, this void within the Great Pyramid was identified in late 2016, and the results were formally published in a journal in 2017. So we're talking 10 years ago now, and we still haven't gone inside.
And you have a particular issue, I think, with...
And yet Zahi just announced they're going inside this year, but that's not soon enough for Jim.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what he wants to do. I'm still dubious as to whether or not it'll happen this year or next year. But I agree with Zahi when he talks about how archaeology takes time. It's not, and also pyramids been waiting around for 4,500 years. Just because a couple people, including myself, on the internet really want to see what's inside doesn't mean that we should rush through it. It's not going anywhere. Nobody's going to beat us to the chase, the kind of thing, getting inside and looking at it. I would prefer for it to be done slowly and properly than quickly and badly, and potentially damage the monument and or cause other issues. The only reason there is to quote unquote rush is because you're putting in this false sense of urgency. Nobody's going to die if we don't investigate this tomorrow.
But if we don't restrict some areas of the site, somebody might die.
Yeah, exactly. I literally
priorities.
When I was a student in in Jordan, we had a story of somebody a couple of years before who had gone to Petra and had been walking around where it's famously a free-for-all, you can do whatever you want, fell off a wall, broke both their arms.
Oof.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on.
The tomb of the Osiris mummy. So for those who are not familiar,
Osiris, tomb of Osiris.
Osiris
not
mummy.
the mummy.
Explain what that is and what your issue with it is.
Okay, so Zahi, back in, I believe it was 1999, you did a Fox special where you had went down into the Osiris shaft, and at that time, you were in the process of excavating the tomb that's on the third level down, and you said that you believed at that time that it was the tomb of the Egyptian god Osiris. And then nothing was ever released to the public again after that. I never received any type of information regarding who the mummy was, what the mummy was. That was it. So I guess my question for Zahi, I'd very much like to know is, what did you find inside that sarcophagus?
Okay.
And
When I opened the sarcophagus, it was completely empty.
So wait, I want to. Oh no, he'll bring it up.
Osiris is a myth. He's the one who controlled the underground.
Wait, sorry. This section is really important, so I just want to go back. to hear what Zahi says.
Regarding who the mummy was, what the mummy was, that was it. So I guess my question for Zahi, I'd very much like to know is, what did you find inside that sarcophagus?
Okay.
And
When I opened the sarcophagus, it was completely empty, because Osiris is a myth. He's the one who controlled the underground tunnels at Giza, because Giza, this is why there is no mummy that we found, and all of this we published that this is the tomb of symbolic burial of the tomb of Osiris, who controlled the underground tunnels at Giza Plateau. But there is no mummy. This is the first time I hear about a mummy found in this sarcophagus. But if you want to know about what we found in details, I published an article in a book dedicated to David O'Connor from University of Pennsylvania, and it's written in our big book on Giza.
So let's be really clear. This article, book chapter, is also freely available online. It's hosted by Harvard. It's the discovery of the Osiris shaft at Giza. It is in a book in honor of David O'Connor, and it is freely available with a quick Google. In fact, both Rachel and I found it separately today.
Yeah.
Right. So this is not hidden from anybody. It is nicely published. I'm going to put the link in the chat for anybody that wants to go read it, because we're going to go into this article in a little bit of depth at the end.
Okay. Let me bring in
You find it odd that sarcophagus was empty? I mean, and I also, I want to circle back.
Why would
They're all empty.
What would be the most?
There are many of them are
like
empty.
like all the major sarcophagi at Giza are empty,
or filled with later burials,
or filled with later burials.
The Menkaura one has a later burial. The Khafra one has a later burial of a bull in it. There are filled with later burials.
Or if depending on which one he's talking about, because as my understanding, there's multiple sarcophagi in the Osiris shaft.
There are.
It's underwater.
Yeah, it is underwater.
Like,
we showed that scene from Mr. Beast earlier.
That has an effect on skeletal remains,
yes, it does. Yeah.
Covering anything up?
Maybe that they're, you could say that what they found in there wasn't what they expected it to be.
What do you think it is? Well, what could it be thousands of years later? I mean, what?
No.
Why? Here's a question. Here's an important question for everyone to consider. The ancient Egyptians dug out the Osiris shaft, which extends approximately 100 feet under the ground. They had this sophisticated tomb with 4 large obelisks or pillars surrounding it with a moat. You should look at pictures of this. It's fascinating. And all of that with this, 50, 60-ton sarcophagus. The lid itself, I believe, was 10 or 15 tons. All for nothing. All for a complete empty burial. It's just like...
Yeah, but but Jimmy, again, I come back to the central question. What is in it for Zahi to lie or to cover it? It's like, why would he? There's no one alive who's going to contradict anything that it comes out. It's like, this would just be a matter of historical artifact fact. I mean, the idea that they would find something incredible and then just not tell us, I just think it doesn't make any sense.
Unless it upended, I agree with you, and I'm not accusing Zahi of lying about this. I believe him.
Can I just also check how far along we are now?
Yeah, we have about 15 minutes of video.
Okay.
left.
All right. I was worried we were going to go on for another hour, which we probably could if we wanted to.
We might in that sense, but
I do have work tomorrow.
Especially because I am still frozen and unable to control things.
I will say, I think, I said this before as well. In my other, when I streamed this last year, I think sometimes there's a bit of a language barrier coming in. I think Piers has thrown him off by saying mummy.
I think Piers is throwing it off by saying mummy, and I think that Jimmy is throwing him off by talking really quickly.
And also just talking about sarcophagus. There's several sarcophagi in the Osiris shaft. How is he supposed to, or at least I didn't get from watching this which specific one he's talking about. Maybe, presumably it's the one on the bottom.
I think it's presumably the one on the bottom, but I agree. It's definitely a confusing accusation to throw. He's saying you haven't said anything about this when he's published it. And he's saying, well, he's demonstrated, and we'll get into this. He's demonstrated that this is most likely the Osiris shaft in honor of Osiris, the god of the underworld.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
I find it interesting that he's not mentioning the Osirian. Has he never heard of the Osirian, which is what Zahi Hawass says this is based that they're similar. I don't know.
Yeah, he does say that.
Anyway,
Yeah. Well, let's keep going on. We're going to be revisiting this segment at the very end with Jimmy's video that just came out 3 hours ago. But let's keep plowing on so we can get through this Piers Morgan stuff.
Okay.
Dug out the Osiris shaft, which extends approximately 100 feet under the ground. They had this sophisticated tomb with 4 large obelisks or pillars surrounding it with a moat. You should look at pictures of this. It's fascinating. And all of that with this, 50, 60-ton sarcophagus. The lid itself, I believe, was 10 or 15 tons. All for nothing, all for a complete empty burial. It's just like
but Jimmy, again, I come back to the central question: what is in it for Zahi to lie or to cover this up? Why would he? There's no one alive who's going to contradict anything that it comes out. It's like this would just be a matter of historical artifact fact. I mean, the idea that they would find something incredible and then just not tell us, I just think it doesn't make any sense.
Unless it upended. I agree with you, and I'm not accusing Zahi of lying about this. I believe him that.
I'm not accusing Zahi of lying about this. I just made a video that's accusing him of lying.
I'm not saying that I'm not accusing him of this right now.
Which, by
I'll
the
do
way,
it later, not to his face.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it to his face. I'm such a pussy that I can't do it here because it seems like Piers Morgan is on Zahi's side. And so I'm going to cowardly do it behind his back afterwards.
Sarcophagus was found empty. I don't think that he's lying about that. I'd say the only motivation that I could think of, or the main motivation, I should say, would be that it upends the narrative of Egyptian history, that potentially what they found in it dates back far older. Now, would that be...
Oh my God, it upends the narrative of archaeology, so they're lying about it.
Oh my God.
What a fucking stupid piece of
But
shit.
again, why would Zahi, if that was true, why would he not view it with the same incredible excitement and enthusiasm he's been talking about potentially discovering the tomb of Khufu, for example? I mean, I don't detect from him a need to suppress stuff. I detect the opposite.
I have to say, my respect for Piers Morgan is growing a little bit.
I appreciate that in that he's putting Zahi up against 3 people who are all trying to make him look like an idiot. Piers is defending him. He does. I mean, I'm not a fan of Piers Morgan in any sense of the word, but I do appreciate sometimes when he tries to look like a neutral person.
Yeah.
You guys are all out there going, he knows stuff. He's not being clean with us. And I'm not really sure where you get this from or what his motivation would be.
I could give you an example. So if you were to go to my X or Instagram account, I uploaded a video I had made 4 years ago where Zahi Hawass had explored the alleged tunnels and chambers under the Sphinx and claiming that there's nothing there. However, he never mentioned that there was nothing inside of the Sphinx. And thankfully for a couple intrepid fellows that broke the rules in Egypt and climbed under this area under the Sphinx themselves, and they climbed up in it, and you can see this boarded off cavity.
Thankfully, due to people that broke the rules
and broke into the law, site,
they actually just discovered what Zahi Hawass has already published in that article we already showed about the Sphinx.
This is the thing, is he's misrepresenting. He's like, oh, well, Zahi said that there's nothing there, but there's something there. It's a tunnel.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's nothing inside of it that's of any importance or relevance. It's like
actually, it's kind of cool what's in there. Listen,
it's a robber tunnel, isn't it?
You'll see. Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
This tunnel that was not described at all in Zahi's findings. You can't find any pictures of this boarded up shaft as well, but it does exist.
It's in the book.
Zahi?
It is not true. If you go to the book, you will find a photograph of all the 4 tunnels that we found inside the Sphinx. And we discovered inside these tunnels pottery in situ. Date these tunnels to 500 BC. As we think today, there is something hidden underneath the Sphinx. The Egyptians in the late period thought the same, and they dug and they found nothing. And all this, go to my book and look at these tunnels. The article is called The Tunnels Under the Sphinx. I explained in details all the dimensions of each tunnel and what we found inside. Then we are not really hiding anything. It's you because maybe you do not have access to Egyptology library. But go to the British Museum and look for Zahi Hawass publication on the Sphinx, and you will read what we found.
I suspect you'll sell a few copies after this, Zahi.
Let me bring it to say.
Hang on one second, Jimmy. I want to bring.
Before we move on to the next clip, this is all published here.
Shots fired.
Let me show the photos. Sorry, since my stupid thing crashed again, I have to reload this. Here's the photo of one of the tunnels by the Sphinx. Here's a diagram and a photo of the other one. This is the one that's boarded off with the modern replacement slabs removed. This is the one that Mr. Beast went into. Here are some other ones that you can go see all the photos of. This is all publicly available for free online. You do not need to have access to a special library. You do not need to go buy Zahi Hawass's book, though I'm not saying you shouldn't do that.
It's expensive, though.
This is available online for free if you want to see that.
Zahi's book is like over £100.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think. That's why I bought this so I think this is the older version. I think they've basically like rewritten and updated it and re-released it, because this one's by Mark Lenner and then the other one's Zahi Hawass and Mark Lenner. But this one I bought it secondhand on Amazon. Yeah. So the information in it is still like by and far good. It's just not got the latest stuff in it, and it's not got the Osiris shaft in it because it's just about pyramids. It's not about Giza specifically. But that's actually something as well. I would say if anybody wants to read like a book, like look at Zahi Hawass's book, but maybe it's a bit expensive, is always see if you can get the secondhand copies.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We're done with that human garbage. We're going to have to return to him. We are now on to Timothy Alberino. We have 12 minutes of Piers left.
Okay.
Let me bring in, hang on one second. I want to bring in our last guest who's been very patient. Timothy.
Yes, it's a rogue archaeologist guy.
Known as the rogue archaeologist.
And what's cool here is it's clear that Timothy Alberino can read the room. He's got some brains to him, even though he's a grifter.
So rogue archaeologist, you have your chance to talk directly to Zahi. What would you like to ask him?
Well, first of all, I'm certainly not an archaeologist, rogue or otherwise.
How would you describe yourself?
Then why do you call yourself that?
Which, as Jason Colavito wrote up an excellent description of this debate here, and he pointed out that he has called himself a rogue archaeologist on other podcasts. So he's clearly making a point here that he does not want to engage against Piers. He does not want to piss off Piers Morgan.
I'm a investigative researcher. I would like to make a proposition.
So you're not known as a rogue archaeologist, just to be clear.
I've been called that, but I just want to make it clear that I'm not a lettered archaeologist.
Okay.
But I would like to make a proposition to Mr. Hawass here on your program, for whom I have a great deal of respect, by the way.
Thank you.
My team is in possession of state-of-the-art ground penetrating radar, and it operates off of a drone platform. And we can penetrate 300 feet beneath the surface of the earth. We could penetrate through solid rock.
No, you cannot. Been demonstrated.
I'm not a geo or geoarchaeologist or geospatial person, but
let's see. From the person who just told us that he's not an archaeologist, he claims to have some real good archaeological equipment that no one else has.
This is the thing, though, is that this is the same thing that bugs me about Filippo Biondi, is that if they had technology that's capable of doing that, why are they wasting it on archaeology? You know how money like mining and oil and gas and other industries would pay you to be able to do that kind of stuff? Yeah. And you're wasting it on something like this? Like, and I'm not saying, and I'm saying that as an archaeologist, like that just doesn't make sense.
That stuff would make you so much money.
It would make you so rich, and then you could go and fund digs to look for all this crap that you're looking for.
Exactly. And that's why Filippo Biondi letting his patent expire shows that it's a bunch of bullshit. Because instead of getting a bunch of money from oil companies, he is going and trying to sell fake books to fucking
Somebody
people.
Needs to show these guys how business plans work. I mean, swear to God.
Seriously.
Anyway.
With this technology, we've used it to great effect in other places in the world, including in Peru, where we scanned a pyramid, the Chongos Pyramid, and we discovered some massive underground tunnels, apparently artificial. So would you be willing to facilitate me and my team to come to the pyramid of Khafre, to fly it around the pyramid, and to do a scan, and to see if we can either validate or invalidate this idea of this colossal megastructure under the pyramid?
Okay, one thing I need from you, from Bear's assistant, take my email. Send me an email and send me the type of equipment that you can use. I will send it to Sean, who's the head of my team. And if we do not have it, it will be fantastic to have your equipment to be working in the second pyramid. But you have to know, this takes time to apply and security and all this kind of, but I would be happy to cooperate and talk to you and find out if this techniques, you have it and we don't have it.
So this is a great answer by Zahi, because at this point he doesn't know who this guy is, right?
Yeah.
He's just like, let's be polite. Let's, we'll investigate this, and then we can see, maybe we'll use it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then watch what comes next. It just gets funny. And watch Zahi's face.
I think this is great. So yeah, email him if they are not familiar with this particular technology. Then it looks like Zahi's up for giving it a go.
Can I just also say?
good.
Can I just say that someone brought it up? That archaeologist woman brought up in the chat that they've used GPR.
Yeah,
And
that's Justine. I have a good interview with her on the channel. Yeah, they've used GPR, which is one key thing. At Giza, it's well published. In fact, one of the maps I showed earlier of some of the hydrology was based off of GPR. Yeah. And then, as Glenn Perry brought up, GPR has to be pretty much touching the surface of the ground to work. You can't use it from a drone. It's not LiDAR. It doesn't work that way. LiDAR also does not penetrate through the Earth's surface anyway. But yeah, so Zahi does a great response here, not knowing who this dude is. And then when he reveals who he is, his face just gets hilarious.
I think you also have a particular sort of approach on this, that you tell the story of ancient archaeology, albeit your caveat, you're not an expert archaeologist in that sense, within a biblical framework. How do the pyramids tie into that?
Well, I'm not really sure.
Timothy.
I'm not really sure who built the pyramids. I certainly do not believe that aliens built the pyramids. I do suspect, though, that they correlate to the global system of megalithic complexes that are found around the world, many of which I believe were built in the antediluvian world during the time, which is...
Antediluvian means before the flood, by the way.
Variously described as the Golden Age by the ancients, or referred to as Zep-Tepi by the ancient, by the dynastic Egyptians. Zep-Tepi meaning the first time. And this is the ubiquitous testimony of our ancient antecedents, that there was a time...
I was being nice to you, and it turns out you're just a lying grifter.
For the great cataclysm, when the gods were dwelling among men and were imparting to them the arts of civilization. Everybody all around the world have traditions to this effect, especially in the ancient Near East, ancient Egypt, obviously, the ancient Mesopotamians, the Phoenicians, the Greeks, the Romans. In Hebrew cosmology, these beings are known as the Watchers. The ancient Mesopotamian tradition calls them the Apkallu. So you have this ancient witness, this, again, from our antecedents, saying that the gods were dwelling on earth, whoever these gods were. In some cases, they were copulating with human women who were progenerating.
This is the whole ancient aliens thing, which, by the way, Timothy Alberino is very much.
Is this ancient aliens?
Yeah. He's very much like Von Daniken type stuff. He's presented at the NephCon, the Nephilim Con, and he's into Anunnaki and Apkallu and Nephilim and all that kind of stuff as if they were real. That is what he's talking about here.
Gods, in some cases, giants. And that there were extraordinary things happening in the world before the Great Cataclysm. Certainly the ancient Egyptians believed in not just one great cataclysm, but several. We're all very much familiar with the biblical account of the flood, of the Noahic flood, which I believe is true. I think evidence does point to the idea that civilization didn't begin with the ancient Egyptians or the ancient Mesopotamians. It re-began. It was a restart of civilization in the aftermath.
So to be clear, Timothy, what you're saying is that you don't believe they were built by ordinary humans.
I'm not sure who built the pyramids. I don't know. I think it's possible that these megastructures fall into the same category and time frame as some of the other megalithic structures around the world, which I do believe are antediluvian. Maybe going back
to megalithic structures are you talking about?
Sorry for a...
which structures is he trying to make?
They call this a megalithic culture, which means any structures made with big ass
like
stones.
Stonehenge, all of the Maya pyramids, all of these things that
Göbekli Tepe, etc.,
that all of these different stone things that have been archaeologically proven to have happened like hundreds, thousands of years apart and have no relation to each other. They aren't even the same type of stone construction. They're not the same purpose. Like, do I need to go on? I just, oh man, people who think that like,
hey, but they didn't just build the megalithic structures; they mated with the human women.
Oh, ugh. Okay, then
Boo.
find it in the aDNA then.
Exactly. But no, Eric von Däniken said this. So
Oh,
you know,
man. I find this stuff not interesting, but like I don't know if I wouldn't call myself an expert in any sense, but like I did do biblical Hebrew in my undergrad, and we did like stuff on epic myth and poetry, and talked about a lot of these like flood myths. And like, I mean, the thing about a lot of these, they're like, oh well, all these different cultures had these flood myths. I'm like, yeah, because a lot of these other cultures lived in places where there were floods. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, look, and the reality is like you could think about floods we've lived through in our lives that have created myths and stories.
Yeah.
So like Hurricane Katrina, the Fukushima accident, all the one caused by a hurricane, one caused by a tsunami. They've created movies out of this stuff. Like this is not too uncommon that a major flood ends up in stories, you know, and different floods end up in stories.
Oh,
So, yeah.
It's well, someone's asking if he's trying to prove that he is trying to prove that Noah's Ark is that rock formation in Turkey.
I don't know if he goes that far, at least not in this interview. But he does believe in Noah's flood.
Someone's also just asked, how do you date pyramids? It's very complex, but broadly speaking, they've done radiocarbon dating on stuff, and they've found it to correlate. They've dated everything around them. It's stratigraphy as well. There's like a variety of different methods. The king lists. There's lots of different.
I mean, there's graffiti on the walls of the Great Pyramid that sort of mentions. I probably won't have time to show the clip, but Zahi Hawass mentioned to me that they found a new one that mentions the 13th year of Khufu's reign.
Oh, that's
that
great.
Gives a nice date, right?
Yeah.
There's also the papyrus, the Mayor's Diary, which mentions the 28th year of Khufu's reign. So that's when they're putting on the finishing stones.
Yeah.
So there's there's certain...
And like the thing is, so like you can look at the graffiti and say, okay, so this comes from. So the graffiti is in an area of the pyramid that was completely sealed off until we blew it open with dynamite in the 1800s. So it was inaccessible until we blew it open from the time that it was put there and that it was built there and sealed off. So that graffiti, because of that context, we know that graffiti is from that time. And then you say, okay, this is Khufu. And
well, it also mentions Khufu, right?
Yeah. So I saw something once. I dug a little deeper into it, because there's people who say like, oh, the graffiti was faked. Like the guy who originally opened the relieving chambers wrote it in there, but he didn't know, he couldn't write ancient Egyptian at that time. And it actually, I think, uses different, some of the different names for Khufu. So there's more than one of his names mentioned, which they wouldn't have known them all at that time.
Yeah.
So
and then this all confirms these king's lists and historical evidence. You mentioned there's radiocarbon dating. So when they make the mortar in the stones of the pyramids, they burn and put ash in there.
Yeah.
And we can radiocarbon date that. And it all lines up to, 4,600 years ago.
Yeah.
So
like the exact day, time, whatever year is up for debate. But we know that they come from the reign of Khufu during the 4th dynasty of Egypt.
And about 4,500 years ago.
Which is roughly 4,500 years ago.
Yeah.
So anyway,
let's go on.
Let's finish this.
Let's hear more
Sorry
about
to sidetrack.
and the Anunnaki.
For a native like me, what do you mean?
By the antediluvian?
Antediluvian, yeah.
I mean, the world before the flood, the world before the Noahic flood.
So are you implying by saying that then that it could be non-human?
I need to drink more.
Construction.
It could be. It could be. I mean, again, the Mesopotamians attributed the arts of civilization to the Apkallu.
It's the Apkallu, everybody. Let's take a drink. Everybody drink now. You have to have a drink.
I finished mine. I really just don't have. I just really don't have patience for, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, but like I just really don't have patience for people who think that the Old Testament is a literal historical retelling of events.
Yeah, well, this isn't even Old Testament. This is like other Near Eastern religions with the Apkallu. This is like Assyrian stuff, you know.
Well,
and it's mixing
Nephilim
together it all.
and, you know, the whole Noahic flood is the thing that he's talking about, right? So
yeah.
Which is the Noah. Look it up if you have time, guys. Noah's Ark is a total rip-off of Utnapishtim in the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So it's not even original.
And it's, people are saying, just watch Zahi's face during this because he sounded so optimistic. He's like, yeah, we could use your technology. Yeah. And then he's like, oh.
What have I done? I'll just ignore the email. Junk mail.
Human beings.
Okay.
Well, let me bring in Zahi. What's your response to that?
I am not going to give you a lecture of why pyramids built by the ancient Egyptians, but I will give you one example. In 2017, a papyri discovered called the Wadi El Jarf papyri, written in hieroglyphic and hieratic. It's a diary of someone, his name is Miller, an overseer of the workmen. He said, I was hired by Khufu to work in his pyramid. Under me was 40 workmen. My immediate boss, his name is Didi, and I discovered west of the Great Pyramid, the tomb of his boss, Didi. He went to cut the white fine limestone, mean the pyramid was finished. And he explained how they cut the stones. And they put the stones in a wooden, in a cargo boat. And he take the boat to Giza Plateau. He stay overnight, he go again. The papyri needs an hour to explain.
So do you have any doubt at all?
No,
human beings
no one single doubt with me.
You're 100% sure.
100% sure that the ancient Egyptian built the pyramid. We have many evidence to prove that. But if pyramids built by aliens or anyone else, do we have anything found to prove that? The answer is no.
Let me just quickly ask the
Which, when he was talking to Joe Rogan, I love Zahi's response. Well, you'd think you'd find at least a shit from the aliens. You know, we don't even have one of their shits.
Yeah.
They'd have left something behind, some alien chain.
Yeah, the only thing they left behind is this giant, useless pile of rocks.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Michael first. Do you think humans built the pyramids?
I do think humans built the pyramids, but I don't think the real debate is whether the ancient Egyptians were incredible or sophisticated. They clearly were an incredibly remarkable civilization. I think the question is all regarding their civilizational development. Why does the peak of sophistication appear right at the start with the Old Kingdom? And then why is it a slow trawl downwards into less sophisticated? Why do they forget how to build pyramids?
They didn't forget. It was a conscious choice.
And plus, it didn't start off as the peak. We see a clear development of royal tomb complexes, from mastabas and enclosures to the step pyramid to the bent pyramid to then we get to these. And then they start building them out of mud brick, as we discussed, because that's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, and they essentially, you know, I mean, I don't mean this, but you know how we talk about how you know, like I was saying, everything used to be, when it was made in America, it was good quality, and then we started making everything in China, and now everything falls apart. That's effectively they did the same thing, but with building pyramids.
Exactly.
And that was a conscious decision because they were expensive to make. And they had and then they had no economic value besides providing some tax labor for the farmers, which presumably could be used elsewhere. There's also arguments about the fact that the importance of the king after the fourth dynasty, the power of the king and his popularity was waning, and the popularity of the cult of the god Ra and the priesthood was on the rise, which is why we start to see a switch from the emphasis being pyramids to then being sun temples. It's a whole, things change.
Plus also the pyramids kept getting looted, so they decided to start hiding their royal tombs underground, which also wasn't very successful, but they tried.
Yeah, and also things go out of fashion.
Yeah.
Things change. Pyramids were built over well over 1,000 years. In that time, lots of things change, and people's taste change and what they want and what they believe in. So, yeah. Anyway. We're in the home stretch. Let's just let them talk.
6 minutes left.
Well, why are the pyramids so unbelievably mathematically precise that we probably couldn't even recreate it today without extremely modern machinery?
which is not true. The pyramids are off by like a meter in every direction. Using a non-electronic tools like a theodolite, you could make it more precise than the ancient Egyptians did. Theodolites were invented in the 17th century AD, well before we were using electricity and stuff like that. They're not that precise. They're remarkably precise for pre-modern ancient times. I'm not trying to deny that. But by modern standards of precision, they're not precise.
Why are all these questions out there? Why? There's so many things that don't make sense. Why do we not find any mummies within the Great Pyramid? Why are there no royal?
No, what doesn't make sense is that Michael Button, Jimmy Corsetti, and Timothy Alberino.
And there's inscriptions in the 5th Dynasty pyramids. That's where we get the pyramid texts from.
There's the inscription we showed in the Great Pyramid.
Inscriptions or any inscriptions at all inside the Great Pyramid, like we find in every other Egyptian tomb. There are so many mysteries.
We have them.
And
Zahi,
he's talking about. Well, no, his thing is that he's like, royal inscriptions, not graffiti.
Oh yeah.
I think that we need to be more open to the fact that there are mysteries that we cannot answer and stop.
So what percentage certainty are you? If Zahi's at 100%, what are you about humans?
That the Egyptians built the pyramids?
Yeah, the humans built them.
Oh, humans, 100% or 99%. Okay. I think humans built the pyramids. Yeah.
Okay, and Jimmy, what would your percentage be?
I'll go with 99% as well. But I want to say one thing. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up, going back to our previous point involving why would anyone want to distort the truth or the narrative involving ancient Egypt. And there is scientific evidence that dates the Great Sphinx back several thousand years earlier than it was, and involves the water erosion around the limestone enclosure. This is something that Zahi Hawass has rejected. However, anyone could take it upon themselves to look at what water erosion versus wind erosion does to limestone. And it's very, very apparent that the enclosure has water erosion, whereas the chest has wind erosion. And this is something that Zahi has rejected. However, the scientific...
So why would one area have water erosion and the other area have wind erosion if there was the water erosion acting on everything? So we were talking about the different layers of the Giza plateau earlier, right? And if you look at the different layers of the Sphinx, the reason why part of it looks eroded is because it's a different hardness to the stone.
Yeah.
And so the stone itself is eroding from the wind much faster in some of the softer areas of the stone because it's a different geological layer. And so geologists have actually mapped this out precisely.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to say, they say we can't build it. Page 208 of the Complete Pyramids. It's got the Nova building experiment. Pyramid building experiment. They didn't build the entire pyramid, but they did experiment with techniques. There's also I can't remember, the French guy that did the experiment in the quarry with quarrying the stones with recreated tools that was able to do it and said that they could scale it up, etc.
Yeah.
It's just like we've done small scale experiments because we funding, we don't have the funding to do a large scale exact replica of the Great Pyramid.
Mm-hmm. And this is what they built. Looks pretty good. It's smaller, but it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
On this shows that the last time the Nile Delta region had significant rainfall was like 7,000 BC, well over 9,000 years ago. And as we all know, the Great Sphinx was found buried up to its neck in sand for thousands of years. So this is tangible scientific evidence that dates back the Sphinx several thousand years older than the narrative. And I will say one last thing, which is that involving the exploration underneath the paw, the ground penetrating radar identified that it is approximately 26 feet by 40 feet wide and approximately 10 meters or about 32 and a half feet deep. And photos, like as you said, you found nothing down there, but why were photos not released to the public to show the nothing down there? Why can't we see what nothing looks like?
Okay, Zahi, your quick response.
I want to tell you all what has been said.
If they,
can
I just say,
we have an answer of everything.
Yeah, but I can't pause it because I
everything
just
we
crashed,
release.
so you have to give it
the
a second.
photos, you can go to this book. This book has everything that we discovered. We are not hiding anything.
If they did have photos, you would just say that they were like fake or that they'd removed everything out of it, right? Like nothing is ever going to be good enough. Like
for Jimmy Corsetti, no, of course not, because he's a liar. Of course, no, and that's the exact same thing. That's exactly what they say. If they can't find the information, they say you're not publishing it publicly. If they can find the information, they say you're lying about it. And so there's just no winning with these type of people. It's just there's no way to win. Mm-hmm. It's just they're liars, and that's just what they are. And I don't know what else to say. I mean, we're gonna go into Jimmy Corsetti as being a liar one last time in a second before we end this. There's somebody that claims that I'm a liar. XMars8, I've not been proven wrong by anybody except for liars. So go believe your fantasy. Go somewhere else. I don't give a shit what you think. Is my answer.
The paw. The ground penetrating radar identified that it is approximately 26 feet by 40 feet wide and approximately 10 meters, or about 32 and a half feet deep. And photos, like as you said, you found nothing down there, but why were photos not released to the public to show the nothing down there? Why can't we see what nothing looks like?
Okay, Zahi, your quick response.
I want to tell you all what has been said, that it's a mystery. We have an answer of everything that they said. And everything we release, the photos, you can go to this book. This book has everything that we discovered. We are not hiding
2009.
anything. But the most important thing, that all your doubts and all your questions, we have an answer to it.
Which, by the way, Jimmy, we just showed that publication earlier on the stream. I'm not going to show it again. All those tunnels are photographed.
We are not, and Egypt, by the way, is not the Great Pyramid. Egypt is many other things. You have other pyramids, mummification. You have the Valley of the Kings. You have all this great civilization. It did not only show the Great Pyramid only. The Great Pyramid is one, and it is the national project. The 3 million who lived in Egypt participated in making this pyramid for the king to be a god. Then for the program, I can tell you for hours and answer all your questions. But there's one thing I want to assure all of you. We never hide anything. Everything we discover, we publish it in a scientific article or in a book. And all of this is accessible and people can look at it and read it. It's not my problem that you don't really read this. But if you want, I can send you.
I wish you just said that you don't really read.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he's saying.
That's where I thought he was going to cut off saying.
But yes, any show that makes these people seem like an authority is a disgrace. It's just disgusting.
Happy to answer all your questions by email. I will be happy to send you photographs. Anything you need, I'll be happy to send it to you.
He does seem very approachable to me, so I think you should take him up on that. Finally,
absolutely.
Finally, Dave, I had Graham Hancock.
Okay, so we have a 2-minute ending. Anything you want to add before we move on to it? Nope. 1 second. I just want to set up my screen share again since I keep losing it. God, technology. I suck at it today. Though I don't know. This is a new
saying
problem.
You're an investigative researcher is just like a way to try and give yourself some legitimacy that you know what you're talking about. It's just like.
Yeah. Oh, it's terrible. They're just grifters, man. They're just grifters. All right, let's watch the ending because I find Piers to be hilarious here.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Finally, Dave, I had Graham Hancock on the show after our last interview. I've had him on a couple of times, and he said this about you.
Zahi and I get on okay. We've had some misunderstandings in the past.
I mean, if I was to go out there, because he's invited me, would he let you come with me?
Yes, I'm sure.
It's quite a fun trip.
I'm sure he will. What Zahi and I have come to is we've agreed to disagree. There's too much mutual insulting going on in this world, where archaeologists insult alternative researchers and alternative researchers insult archaeologists. Zahi and I have agreed that we will not insult each other personally anymore. Our disagreements will be purely on the basis of our interpretations, our different interpretations of the evidence. And I don't think Zahi is opposed to different interpretations of the evidence, but he is opposed to flimsy, badly thought out ideas.
I find it so hilarious how Graham Hancock does this, and then a month after he does this, saying I've made peace with Zahi Hawass, he just goes and attacks me on Twitter, calling me a liar and stuff like that. He's like, oh no more personal attacks except against this other archaeologist who's the big bad guy.
Oh yeah, Zahi's safe. Everybody else is fair game.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess the big question to end with, Zahi, is if I get Graham Hancock and Robbie Williams and a little gang of explorers and our own little Indiana Jones trip, maybe some of the guys who've been on the show today, and we all come out, you'll entertain us. You'll host us, will you?
I will host you completely, and I will give you the red carpet.
Lovely. And will I get some fantastic Egyptian food?
I will take you to one of the restaurants that has the best Egyptian food.
Then
And you will
in
love
that
it.
case, I'm sold.
And you will be my guest.
I will see you in Egypt, and I mean it. We're going to come.
Thank you.
Zahi, what a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. The
Thank you
same.
very much. I'm a
Thank
big
you.
admirer of your work, and thank you to all the guys who joined us and got a chance to ask you questions directly. It was very civilized, the conversation. It's a fascinating subject. Obviously, there are lots of unanswered questions, but I get the sense from Zahi, if he could answer them, he would. He wants to find out everything like we do. And he's found out more about these pyramids probably than anyone alive. So we should thank him.
Thank you.
Salute you, and hope you carry on. I want to be there when you open up that tomb of
Oh, that's why Piers is doing all of
Exactly.
this. I
Piers is just
see.
kissing his ass. He's like licking it counterclockwise.
Yeah, someone in the chat keeps on going on about the fact that there were skeletons. I think, like,
No,
as
no,
I
we're
said,
gonna, we're gonna
okay,
get into that in a
okay,
second. No. We're
Okay.
gonna get into that in a second because that's the big thing that just happened.
okay.
and it's there.
Thank you.
That would be amazing, right?
Of course. Yeah.
Great to see
Hey,
you.
1 second.
Sorry?
Zahi, I just want to say, Zahi, as a conspiracy theorist, I could tell you that when you do finally drill into the Great Pyramid, what the skeptics are going to say is they're going to like, well, they already removed something ahead of time. You should consider having other people there, someone like myself, that could say, hey, look, I was there witnessing when they opened this thing up.
Utterly
and no, they did not
shameless, but
screw
I
around.
admire the work. But by the way, there will be a queue, and I'm first in it. So
Yeah, I don't.
if
I
there's any room for you after me, then good luck. But if that
Also,
tomb's
can you
getting
imagine
open,
trying
I
to
wanna be
stream
there.
from the inside of the Great Pyramid? Like, yeah, nobody's getting an internet signal in there, guys. Sorry.
Oh my God, it's just so funny to
That's
watch this.
grifty.
And Jimmy Corsetti does that. That's how he ends it. He ends it by saying, "Hey Zahi, I'm gonna lick your ass clockwise, even while Piers licks it counterclockwise." Right? You know, this is what he does, so he can get an inside gig on the opening of the Big Void. Right? And then,
Wow.
quite literally, just like
Well, I tell you what, he's not getting that invite anymore. So
because where is it? Oh, I need to open up. Sorry. Because what happened is
not-
right after this episode aired, Jimmy Corsetti went on Twitter and he basically accused Zahi Hawass of lying. And which, by the way, Jimmy Corsetti has blocked me a long time ago because he knows that I call him out on his lies. And so that's why you see this here. And he just published 5 hours ago his expose about this on YouTube. We're going to watch a short clip and we're going to debunk it, okay? Because
Okay.
we have to do that. But he's made it clear that he's exposing the lies told by Zahi Hawass, which have enormous implication of potential antiquity looting and a cover-up. Looting. He's obtained proof that Zahi has lied about the famous Osiris shaft sarcophagus being empty. This is a literal cover-up, and the implications are truly explosive. Piers, why would Zahi lie? To cover up for looting is why.
wow.
So
that's-
this is what he's doing. Let's watch this. Then we're going to dive into the publication and we're
Okay.
going to look at it. Okay. This is
Yeah.
just the end of this because Jimmy Corsetti is human fucking garbage.
Interesting. You see, during the debate, Zahi shared something which wasn't included in the debate I just shared earlier, but he had gone on to essentially say that the fact that the sarcophagus was empty was no secret, as they had officially published their findings on it many years ago. But with that gut feeling I had, I took it upon myself to find the specific archaeological publication that he spoke of, which led me to the Harvard University website.
Wow. Jimmy can read for once.
Posted the publication on behalf of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, dated to 2007, which Zahi Hawass himself is listed as an author. In it, you can find very specific details involving the Osiris shaft, which details the archaeological findings from their excavations into and throughout the subterranean structure. However, when we read the specific details involving what they found on the third and lowest level, including the excavation of this specific sarcophagus, it describes something far, far different than what Zahi had said about finding it, and I quote, completely empty. Are you ready for this? Quote, the remains of a skeleton were discovered in the sarcophagus. I'm sorry, what? Did I read that right? Yes, the publication very clearly articulates what was found on each individual level and very clearly describes that this is indeed the very sarcophagus in question, located on the third level down, even illustrating the tomb itself, its described measurements, and the detailing of skeletal remains as well as other various ancient Egyptian relics had indeed been discovered inside this very sarcophagus. How can this be? After all, Egypt's most renowned Egyptologist, Dr. Zahi Hawass, very clearly expressed that it was completely empty.
Oh my God. Jimmy has caught Zahi Hawass in a lie, everybody.
Oh my God. Zahi Hawass doesn't exactly
Oh my
remember
God.
what happened to him 30 years ago. Ooh.
It gets worse.
Okay, we're getting
When I opened the sarcophagus, it was completely empty.
He also said it was nothing more than a symbolic relic.
Because Osiris is a myth. And this is why there is no mummy that we found. That this is the tomb of symbolic burial of the tomb of Osiris.
And he even went on to say that he had never even heard of a mummy that was found inside.
But there is no mummy. This is the first time I hear about a mummy found in this sarcophagus.
Now, during the debate, Piers Morgan called me out asking, why would Zahi have any reason to lie about anything? And my response to that was that one of the reasons would be to uphold the known official longstanding narrative and historical timeline that we've all been taught in school about the ancient Egyptians. I mean, Zahi himself refuses to even acknowledge the Sphinx's water erosion, which very clearly and scientifically dates the Great Sphinx back several thousand years older than what we were taught. But the one thing I was going to say in response to Piers, but I bit my tongue out of respect, and keep in mind, while not realizing
Out of respect, out of cowardice. You're a coward and a liar, Jimmy Corsetti.
I had just told such an enormous lie about the sarcophagus being completely empty, was that Zahi Hawass himself has been previously implicated in illicit conduct, specifically in the facilitation of looting and sales of black market antiquities trade back in 2011, and it resulted in his ouster from the governmental position.
He was not ousted because of any looting. This is a complete lie. He was ousted because of a change in the government.
Regime change. Yeah.
Yeah, this is well known. Jimmy Corsetti is lying right here. There are many news articles on this.
He had as the Supreme Minister of Antiquities for Egypt. In fact, he had received many accusations for many years before all of this came to a head. And although in the end he was never held accountable legally in court,
he was never held accountable legally in court because there's no proof he had anything to do with any looting.
Believe that he was let off the hook through his powerful political and tenured connections. So with all of this said so far, do you want to hear what I think really happened? Well, get ready, as this is quite provocative. Whoever, looted it. It is a known fact that countless amounts of ancient Egyptian artifacts have been stolen and sold on the illegal antiquities market for many decades, and the financial incentive to do so is far higher than most people would ever imagine.
Several things I have to say.
Yeah.
About what there's. So, I mean, where do you even start? Firstly, I think.
Wait. Can I start really quickly?
Yeah.
Just
go ahead.
I want to re-show some slides I showed earlier about Jimmy Corsetti. I think this context is really important. When I was on Piers Morgan with Jimmy Corsetti, the first thing he did afterwards was accuse me of lying. So do you remember earlier we were talking about the water table and how that disproved the Biondi scans? Well, I brought that up on Piers Morgan. And afterwards, Jimmy Corsetti sent a tweet saying that I plagiarized him for this. He says, my favorite part of the interview is when Dr. Flint Dibble, PhD archaeology, indirectly cited the research of non-archaeologists involving the Giza water table, which he says you'll see it when it airs. And he showed one of his tweets where he mentioned the Giza water table. My reply was, actually, I mentioned the water table in a video a week before you ever did. You're just lying about me. His response was to delete this tweet, because he realized that he just made up lies. Because this is what Jimmy Corsetti does. He's accused me of faking cancer. I have stage 4 cancer, everybody. I've been fighting cancer since 2021. It was stage 2 in 2021. It was stage 3 in 2023. And it was stage 4 as of last year. I am fighting melanoma that has spread throughout my fucking body. And this guy accuses me of faking my cancer just because he lies. He has asked for people. He's accused me of lying about what he says about Göbekli Tepe when I have the receipts to prove that he has said that excavations are at a standstill. He has gotten his people to call my university to get me fired. He has done all of these nasty things. He's celebrated my university and job cuts going on there. He is a nasty piece of work who just lies. And so I want to make this really clear. He is a well-known liar. Archaeologists have caught him lying dozens, hundreds of times. There is nothing he has ever said that could even be trustworthy. And he absolutely hates archaeologists. He encourages people to leave rate my professor reviews on professors' websites, not because they're the students of the professor, but because he wants them to lie about us. This is what he does. This is who Jimmy Corsetti is. He is human fucking garbage, as Dave Farina has pointed out in his Professor Dave video, which, yes, I helped him research. So, you know, when I say that Jimmy Corsetti is a liar and a terrible person who hates archaeologists and will say anything about us, I have the proof to back that up. Okay, sorry, you can go on.
That's okay.
Now.
No, I mean, like, making personal attacks like against you like that is like horrific. I just think that's a horrible
it's just
thing
beyond the pale to do that kind of stuff. It shows his character.
Yeah, very true. No, I was just because it's hard to know where to start with the Zahi Hawass thing because we weren't involved in the conversation. I can't read people's minds. I don't know what they're thinking. My read of the situation is that or things that I would consider when looking at this and being like, oh, Zahi's lying, is I think Piers muddied the waters by saying the Osiris mummy. Because there is a distinction, guys, between a mummy and skeletal remains. They are different things. And we need to keep in mind that English, while he is very proficient in speaking it, isn't Zahi's first language. Additionally, Jimmy Corsetti wasn't, at least maybe we were watching it too fast, but I don't think he was very specific about which sarcophagus was there. He was speaking about, and there are multiple sarcophagi in the Osiris shaft. The skeletal remains, that also, I mean, yeah, like Zahi excavated it in the 1990s. It's like basically 30 years ago. He probably wasn't prepped for this interview. And while you would remember a lot, is he going to remember every single moment of the exact excavation and be able to recall it clearly on the spot? I don't know if I would be able to do that. But
no.
maybe I'm just making excuses for him. I don't know.
Let's look at his report, because his report actually makes this pretty clear.
Yeah.
And I think that that's important because what Jimmy showed was one line in the report.
Yeah.
So we're going to go through and show it in a little more depth and a little bit more nuance, okay? Because that's what scholars do, after all, right? So the discovery of the Osiris shaft.
Let's peer review this paper.
I don't think we have time to peer review it, but we can at least summarize it a little bit.
Yeah.
So he goes through and presents in detail what this Osiris shaft is like. If you remember earlier in the video, like an hour and a half ago, we showed Mr. Beast in the water at the very, very bottom in level 3. This is the water line right here, right? And so in there, there's a range of finds and there's a lot of different sarcophagi, okay? And what's interesting, if we scroll down to the sarcophagi, or actually, let's just really quickly, he mentioned mummy. The only mention of mummy is in the table of contents in the book.
Yeah.
And then in the article, there's a statue of a mummified Sokar Osiris with an erection that was discovered in a wooden box in the pit, one of the pits. And then there's one specific amulet that would have been put in a mummy at some point, but it's fairly high. It's one of the finds up high. So there's no mummy at all discovered in this Osiris shaft. So when he says that there's no mummy that we found, he was being honest, meaning Zahi was being honest. Now, when we look up skeletal remains, there's skeletal remains in a few different sarcophagi. So, for example, this one up here has the badly remains of a skeleton inside from the 26th dynasty. So we've talked about the 26th dynasty earlier and the remains inside the Menkaura sarcophagus. Same period. This is the very last dynasty in Egypt. This is really late. This is like 600 BC. So we're talking 2,000 years after the construction of the Great Pyramid, right?
After Giza was first used, yeah.
Exactly. And look at all this. So many sarcophagi in this shaft from the 26th dynasty. Everywhere you look, there's 26th dynasty type stuff. The remains of human bones, all dating to the late period in these chambers, right? In the late period, meaning around the 26th dynasty. It just keeps going on with all this later material, reusing it. Now, when we get down to the bottom level, the area of water with the Osiris sarcophagus, what do we find here? We find a pit, we find a sarcophagus, we find the remains of a skeleton that were discovered in there, which he read, and then he said, and there were other Egyptian remains in there. Guess what? They're all from the late period.
Yeah.
This is a reuse of this 2,000 years later. And in fact, the summary is all right here. So he summarizes up exactly what he said. The earliest artifacts from the shaft are from the 6th dynasty, the Old Kingdom. That's when the shaft was constructed. Okay. But then it was reused in the 26th dynasty, 2,000 years later, for burials. And so this is what he summarizes, the very last paragraph of this. If only Jimmy Corsetti had just read to the end. In conclusion, the Osiris shaft was first cut in the Old Kingdom and then used again in the New Kingdom when Osiris became important at Giza, as evidenced by the use of the name, I don't know how to read that. This shaft was also used for burial in the 26th dynasty. So when he says the sarcophagus was empty, what he means is that it was empty of any Old Kingdom stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, like this report, I would be interested to know, to look at what happened to the stuff. There's an interesting conversation going on in the chat about museum archives that we will get to in just a moment. But the thing, they're saying skeleton here in this report, but I've considering that those remains were underwater, basically, because also, let's put into context, when they were digging this out, they had to pump out the water to dig it out. So like the lower levels of it were underwater. Like that, a skeleton doesn't mean that they found, like, I don't think, like a fully intact, entirely intact, 100% body. I'd be interested to know how much of a skeleton they actually found in there. I suspect it's not a lot. I suspect it's not in good condition. And I suspect that because it's been underwater, you probably can't really do many tests on it.
Yeah. And again, the finds in there were 26th dynasty, late period. All of the burials come from that period. Yeah. There is no evidence that when this Osiris shaft was constructed, that there was an Old Kingdom burial in there. And he writes this up exactly as he describes it, that symbolically Osiris would have been buried inside the shaft to give power to the kings who were buried under the nearby pyramids. In this respect, the kings who were buried in their own underground tunnels would gain power like Osiris. There is no evidence here of Zahi Hawass lying. Yes, he misremembered about the later material, but he definitely did not lie. Like, I don't know what else to say. And it's really clear. And Jimmy Corsetti, on the other hand, is a nasty piece of shit who lies all the time aggressively about archaeologists, slandering us, libeling us, defaming us all of the time. And so, you know, I don't know what else to say. That is my take on these explosive allegations by Jimmy Corsetti. If I was Zahi Hawass, I would consider the fucking shit out of him. But I'm not a lawyer, so don't follow my advice, Zahi.
I don't know. I feel like if you were, like to accuse Zahi Hawass of looting that's ballsy. Like, he's a polarizing figure. You know, people don't like him. He is, he doesn't have a personality that it's like, you either like him or you don't. A lot of the time, there's not a lot of the time a middle ground, and he's pissed off a lot of people. But at the same time, you cannot ignore the fact that he has done so much for Egyptian archaeology. He has done so much to reclaim Egyptian archaeology for Egyptians, which is arguably what's pissed off a lot of people. But the one thing I think you could say about him that anyone would agree on is that nobody cares about it more and feels more passionately about it and also putting it out there publicly than Zahi Hawass. Yeah. So to accuse him of something like looting and hiding things just goes against everything that you know about him. And also to answer the questions about where are all these artifacts and why aren't they on a museum display at the Grand Egyptian Museum, etc. Not having been to the Grand Egyptian Museum, I can't say whether or not these artifacts are on display. My guess is they're probably in a storage facility somewhere because, surprise, surprise, the actual vast majority of archaeological artifacts are in storage and not on display in a museum. It's something like, is it like 1% of the British Museum's archive is actually on display?
Sure. Yeah.
Like only 1% of the items that they have, the rest are all in, or it's like, it's a very small number like that. And the rest is in storage. Same will be true at the Grand Egyptian Museum. And for something I would think at the Grand Egyptian Museum to have a display to justify being displayed, you have to have a good reason. And no offense to the people, but a cenotaph to Osiris that doesn't have remains relating to the 4th dynasty and has been reused by the 26th. There's actually nothing really special about it besides the fact that it's underground. Besides the fact that it's got the 3 levels and we don't know why.
Yep, I fully agree. I think we should let Zahi Hawass have the last word here. This comes from my video on the Great Pyramid. If you've never seen it, if you're interested in the Great Pyramid, it's a good video. Part of it includes an interview with Dr. Hawass, and we had a frank discussion about pseudo-archaeologists and why they lie like they lie. So let's hear what he has to say. The problem is that these narratives, this history, is being hijacked by people who want you to ignore the evidence so that they can paint a fantasy as if it's real. And I asked Zahi about this, and he had some very interesting insights into it. The problem is that these narratives, this history, is being hijacked by people who want you to ignore the evidence so that they can paint a fantasy as if it's real. And I asked Zahi about this, and he had some very interesting insights into it.
One good example. When people talk all the time that there is something hidden underneath the Sphinx, okay? You have the Edgar Casey, and you have John Anton West theory, and you have Boris Saya. All these people have theories. And I really found out at the end, it's business. It's business. It's not science. Then people were saying all the time there is something hidden underneath the Sphinx. And people wanted to drill. When the Egyptian Antiquities Department refused that anyone could drill under the Sphinx, then they began to attack all of us.
Yeah.
But when we discovered that the water table began to appear in front of the Sphinx, we had a team from Cairo University under Dr. Hafiz. And this team, they came and they did drill, 32 drilling underneath the left paw and the right paw and everywhere. If there is something that we discovered, how can we hide it? How we cannot announce it? We announced the facts. And this is really is the duty of good archaeologists. We work with facts. We do not dream. Dreamer is someone who has no scientific basis. If anyone have a new theory, I encourage him or her. Okay, publish your theory. Put it in paper, then people can read it. But don't talk about your theory only in the media.
Zahi makes so many really excellent points here. It's really important to recognize that those selling these fantasy narratives, they're in business. They're making money from selling books, from getting your clicks and your attention. That is what this is. And in order to get you not to look at all of the hard evidence, the fact that Egyptologists have drilled throughout Giza, and what they found is the water table, just a few meters under the surface, there's nothing hidden there. And what has been discovered from these drillings and from the excavations has been published.
Yeah.
That
It's
is what this is.
100% correct. They are making money off of the books that they sell. They are making money off the videos that you watch. They are making money off the conferences that you attend. They're doing and it's not in their interest to be proven wrong. So that's why I think that's what I said about the SAR scans. It's like it's very convenient of them to have chosen an archaeological site to make these claims about when they know that there's no chance that they're going to get approvals to investigate them.
Yeah.
That's just terribly convenient, don't you think?
They're just making money. They're going for donations, they're going for sales, they're going for tours. This is what it is about. These people are fucking fraud, grifter, liar, harassers is what they are. And that's the end, everybody.
Flint, we've streamed for 3 hours.
I know, it's absolutely kind of insane. This is why I told you we should pull out clips instead of listening to the whole thing.
That's fine. I'm sure we did it.
Chug, 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 chug.
We should play the Bone Zone. It's going to be our theme song.
I got to play my outro music for my channel. I'm sorry that I'm
that's fine.
It's going to end up on your channel. You're going to have to cut it.
That's okay. But I found in the interest of sharing AI slop music like the Bone Zone, I found a cat one that I'm going to send you. That's hilarious. It's called Frugget. If anybody wants to look it up, he has a song. It's like songs written from the perspective of a cat. And the one that I first found is called "We Need Them Biscuits." It's great.
Nice. But yeah, everybody give a like to my channel, give a like to Rachel's channel, Inside Archaeology.
Subscribe, like, comment, share, do all
join
of
our
stuff.
Patreon, all that kind of jazz.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta keep donate to Emma's food fund.
Yeah, exactly.
Rhymes and riddles, tickle, tickle, giggles, squiggle, jiggle, fiddle, flint and dibble. Rhymes and riddles, tickle, tickle, giggles, squiggle, jiggle, fiddle, dibble, 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 dibble. Flint and dibble, Flint and dibble, Flint and